YouTube, welcome to the BrothSyndi MyTeam show. I am your host, Jan Moses. Today's episode, man, I'm so excited for today's podcast. It is potentially a little bittersweet. We will get into that later on, like probably much later on in today's episode of the BrothSyndi MyTeam show. You can see here under today's special for the first time ever, it says NBA 2K26. And that is because we are going to be discussing the NBA 2K26 MyTeam reveal. The information that we got from yesterday's Twitch stream and Courtside report. Now, just for full transparency, I am recording this with my MyTeam partner in crime, Harry, who I will be introducing properly in a moment. We are recording this at almost 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern, on Thursday, the same day that we got the stream and the Courtside report. We just didn't want to have this podcast come out at like midnight Eastern time. That would be really, really bad, I think, for viewership and for exposure, getting this out to you guys, because I do know you guys enjoy longer form content on this channel as well as the usual shorter form content. Now, also, while we're talking about all the everything that happens behind the scenes, Harry and I did get to watch the Twitch stream basically together. Like we were reacting to it live over text to each other, and so I think we both have a feel for how we stand on certain aspects of the reveal, and him and I actually bandied about how we want to go about the intro, because those of you guys that have seen these podcasts before know that Harry tends to drop 1 to 2 rants or pipe bombs, as we call them here on the BrothSyndi channel, an homage to CM Punk. I think we may see more than that potentially in today's episode. And so before we get into the pipe bombs and before we get into everything, I thought to try to keep it somewhat organized to start, I asked Harry literally 2 minutes ago to come up with one word to describe how he's feeling about the NBA 2K26 MyTeam reveal from the Courtside report and the stream. I'm going to transition over to that screen now, and I'm going to throw it over to my good buddy, Harry. Harry, first of all, how are you today, my friend? And second of all, what is that one word you would use to describe your feelings towards the NBA 2K26 MyTeam reveal?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good or decent, I guess. It's kind of funny because, we began the day with the MyTeam blog, and I was, it put me in a bad mood. I was kind of frustrated all day with the MyTeam news. And then as the day went on, I worked out, I ate well, I'm in a good mood. The day's getting brighter and brighter. And then I get on the podcast, and I was kind of like, you know what? This is going to be funny because I'm in a good mood right now. I'm upset with how MyTeam 2K26 is going, but everything seems to be sunshine, lollipops, rainbows, and gumdrops. And little do I know, I begin the podcast and my headset is like not working. I only hear through one ear for some reason. I don't know why. So that kind of put me in a bad mood. So so this could I don't know where this is going, but it's going to go somewhere. And I'm back in my angry, fed up mood. So we're gonna see how this goes. But yeah, if I were to give one word, and I probably would have said this regardless of my headset problems, but I'm gonna go hopeless because I really am with my team, and I don't want to make this into like a 1 hour promo, as Jan and I would laugh about. But to make a quick thing, sort of, I used to Jan and I he'll make fun of me a lot, but I used to like treat the MyTeam blog every year like the Bible.
Yeah.
Like I live by it. They would say something, and I think it's also growing up. I mean, Jan, I was like in, the earlier 2Ks, I was in high school, so I was more innocent, I guess you can say, to these big corporations. I would believe what they would say at their word. If they're going to promise something, I would believe it full value. And I think my issue was I would go beyond the face value. I would kind of think in my brain what it could be, and kind of in my head kind of hope it would turn into that, and it would never be that. You know what I mean? So I think for years and years, Jan would make fun of me because I'd be like, it was like a cycle where like I would hate 2K. I'd get the game, get really excited. I would be disappointed by the game. And then, I would say, I don't like the game. I'm not going to play it next year. And then the cycle begins again where like the new 2K news comes out, and then I get excited. And this has been going on for like so many years. I said to Jan the other day, I was like, I've probably hated more 2Ks than I've loved at this point. And I've gotten them consecutively for God knows how many years in a row. So, and I think for me, last year in particular, and I think I've noticed a trend where like I've quit 2K earlier and earlier every year. And I think last year was really like the final straw for me where I quit like in like season 2. I finally had enough of the game. And like I never went back. Normally I'll quit and
That's
then I
true.
come back and then I'm jealous of like Jen and all these people that have more MT because I quit and they kept playing. But this was the first year I really did not care. Like I didn't have any interest in playing, and I'm someone who will openly admit I was addicted to 2K for so many years. And this year was really it for me. I think I finally had enough of all the years of disappointment and where the game was going, the content was going. I think I finally realized how much the gameplay was a big factor for me because I really have not liked the gameplay. I don't even think in any of the next gen games. I think I don't like how slow they've gotten and how because I just don't. People can say, oh, the dribbling, it was so arcadey, they had to fix it. But look at it now, where you have guys like Kyrie and Curry or Allen Iverson. There's second graders right now at the local PAL that can dribble better than these guys in a video game. Like, to me, that doesn't make sense. So I've not really had fun on the gameplay. But I think one thing that has kept me going in every 2K, despite how much I didn't like the gameplay, were your clutch time onlines, your triple threats. Those were always my bread and butter. I know Jan was more of a clutch time online fan. Not that I didn't like the mode, but I think that was his bread and butter. So I don't want to make it seem like I was like a massive fan because that was more him. But I was a big triple threat fan. I've loved 3-on-3 my team ever since 2K 16, 17, playing the blacktop or gauntlet, whatever it was called. I love that. And then they took a year off in 2K18, and it felt like there was a piece missing. Then you got 2K19 where they introduced triple threat, and I like fell in love with it. That's always been my biggest thing. I remember in 2K24, I was like one of the only people I knew that hit the I did the gauntlet, or was it called the
Yep.
gauntlet? I think
I
for
think
the
so.
yeah for
Yeah.
the Diamond Chris Bosh. I just love it. I love fast paced, quick games where. Sure, there's always going to be an advantage if you have, a God Squad or a pay to win team, but there's something refreshing about being able to, all right, I lost, cool. I'll shove it off my shoulder. I'll play a new game. So I think it was kind of funny for me when the park news came out last year around the same time, and everybody was throwing their babies in the air. They were so happy. They were thinking this was going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I immediately hated on it. I was like, why are we supporting the fact that we had a mode that you could play, you could use budget teams, you could use God Squads, you can use any type of team you want. And so what if you lose? You go into a new game, has no effect on your day. Well, now you lose and you're waiting, you could wait 10, 15 minutes for a new game. And, for me, I think most of all, why would I want to bring a budget team in or a bad team in so I can lose and then waste another 15 minutes waiting for a new game? You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
value time. So to me, it was like, it took away the fun. It's because it became a sweat fest. And then they add on to that by making you go undefeated as opposed to having a ladder board. So it kind of felt like they were doing everything they can to make it so you can't casually enjoy my team, which is why they took out CTO and all these different things. Um, I made peace that they probably weren't going to bring triple threat back. I was hoping that they were going to make it so you could do instant matchmaking with the normal one-on-one, because I think co-op not having instant matchmaking, that's fine. I think it's part of the experience. Like, it's fun when you get on with like a group of friends, you play the game and then you wait and then you whatever. It's that's fine when you spend an hour in the park, and you only play a couple games because you're with your friends, you're having fun. When you're alone and you're trying to you have an hour before work or whatever, and you can only play a few games because you have to wait for games. That to me is unacceptable. It's 2025. We shouldn't be waiting for games. There's a reason why in the park they added in the theater mode, which is an awesome idea. So if you're a my player, you don't have to wait for games. You could do instant matchmaking. So I was really upset by it. So I thought maybe there's a chance they'll learn from it. They'll bring instant matchmaking back because it really didn't make any sense to not have it. But I told Jan yesterday, I said I'm 99, and you could, agree or you can acquiesce. I said there was a 99.9% chance they're going to bring CTO back. It seemed like everybody wanted it. I was in the Twitch stream, a few weeks ago with the gameplay when they were good, introducing MyTeam and all the different modes, and you had the entire chat spamming CTO. So I knew that the people were there. I knew that they wanted it. This was a majority thing that people wanted. So I really thought that this would be the main thing they would bring back, and I was really, really disappointed that they didn't bring it back. For me, that was kind of the I don't want to say the only way that they were going to get me back by adding in those two modes, because if they really shocked me and added some really cool features, like maybe I would have been more into it. But for me, it comes down to the fact that I don't like the gameplay. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's simulation. I don't think it's realistic. I don't think it's good for anyone. I think 2K always tries to find a good balance. A one shoe will fit all, and they can't do it because no matter what the comp people, I don't think like where the gameplay is at. I know casuals who don't like the game. I have friends who stop playing the game because it's not a fun game for people who don't play 2K to get on and play. They're like, why am I missing shots? Why is it so hard for me to dribble? Why, you know what I mean? So it's not fun. So for me, having those triple threat and clutch time modes are the only way for me to kind of enjoy quick 2K games, because I still love basketball, but I don't love basketball enough to sit through 35 minutes of a game that I don't really like. So I know this was like a long promo, but I don't think I did that poor of a job explaining my feelings, at least why I wanted this in the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very hopeless when I saw that this wasn't in the game, because I really thought, they brought the auction house back last year because, it seemed like a lot of people wanted it back. And I think they did bring it back just because there was such a huge movement for it. But I think 2K knew, of course, we'll bring it back for the benefit of, making people happy, but at the same time, we know how to exploit it. 2K does not know how to exploit a clutch time online or a triple threat without it catering to people who don't spend money, who don't need to spend money, because they're quick games. So like I said, if you lose, you could just play another game.
Yeah.
So I think it's really upsetting to me as like a consumer, because they make it hard that it's almost like I don't want to buy the game because I don't want to support these antics. I look at, and I say this every time, I don't like to compare games, but you look at Madden or you look at any game, MLB, Madden, FIFA, they obviously, their primary goal, of course, is to make money. I'm not gonna pretend that we're in a fairyland where all they care about is giving us a good experience and money is a second goal. They want to make money, but these games also take pride in giving you a good experience. I think it's sort of like a skill to it. It's like a game of chess. How can we give the fans a good experience so they like the game that we're putting out, but we're also making money? Madden, all these people do it. They do the same promos every week. Their pack odds are the same thing as 2K, but they still are able to put in work, put in effort, make a creative effort to make the game fun. So at 2K, I just feel they don't do that, and it really upsets me as a consumer that I'm putting in $150 to play this game 7 days early, that a new thing this year, and they can't put in any effort back to make this a fun experience for me. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm upset. I don't think as of now that I will be getting 2K for the first time in so many years of the game. I'm let down. I really am. I knew for years that this is their target, what they wanted to do. But, I really look at this year and how much, what they've done to the casual 2K player in my team. And, it's clear it's all about the money. And you can't tell me, you can hear me, right?
I can.
Okay, you can't tell me that this is a good product, what they're putting out. This is a mediocre, Ultimate Team mode. This isn't good. And I was telling Jen, we can get more into this later, but, sure, they can add in things like All-Star Team Up or Twos in the Parks or a new way to play Breakout. All of these are ideas and concepts, these new shiny things. Look at 2K24 or 2K25. They introduced Breakout, they introduced Showdown, they introduced all these cool concepts that sound great, and maybe if Madden did it or a competent, caring sports company did this, you would think this is going to be great. But what did it turn out to? Showdown is the worst online mode we've ever had in 2K. Breakout is the worst offline mode we've ever had in 2K. So what's to say it's going to be the same thing with All-Star Team Up? If you like the gameplay enough to have fun and care more about the journey than the destination, Mazel tov, great for you. I just don't think the gameplay is good enough for it to carry awful rewards. I mean, we'll go into it later, but look at the rewards we were presented with in this trailer. You saw breaking a 15-game win streak,
I
something
think we
that's
should get
very
into that
hard to
as we
do.
break into the pod, Harry. I don't want to talk about everything at
I know.
once.
All right, I'm just gonna quickly say,
Just
I
because the
said I
rant's
wasn't gonna
hitting
do this,
almost
but
12 minutes. But yes, go
yeah,
on.
no. I wanted to hear, but I'm just gonna quickly say it's like look at the rewards, look at what we're given. I don't know how anyone could get excited over the game. I just don't think the gameplay is good enough to carry this mediocre service they're providing us.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I apologize for cutting you off, but I want to
No,
also
you're
make
right.
sure I
I
want
could
you
have
to
gone
save
for
your
like an hour.
energy.
Good for you.
No, I mean, I want to be very clear. Coming into this podcast today, talking to Harry all day, I knew that it was going to be, I don't want to say volatile, but I know Harry's not feeling, I mean, he's not feeling any positive emotions towards 2K at all right now. And I think there's like a lot that he has, on his chest that he wants to let off. And I support that. I think my role today is to kind of be the lion tamer and to try and make sure that I want to give you time to roar, but I also want to make sure
You're
that you
good.
have energy
I'm
to
not. No, I
roar.
get it.
Because I need you to also have energy as we get through all the topics. But I will say you did a great job of, saying what your word was and then bringing it back to your word. Like you said, hopeless.
Sure.
You gave a bunch of reasons and you ended on hopeless, which I love. I only cut you off because I want to make sure like some of that stuff that you're talking about was revealed in the trailer, obviously. When we get to it, I want you to go off. Like I want to make sure that we save some ammunition for that. Very quickly, because I don't really have a rant necessarily, at least lined up in my head right now. But my one word, because you look at, there are a lot of reactions, right? And the reaction that Harry had, I think a lot of people share that same sentiment. I think there are also people who maybe play this game more casually who were frustrated last year, and maybe they feel more optimistic this year because, at least based on the Courtside report, which, as we discussed, you can't treat it as gospel, you can't treat it as a Bible, because they lie to us every year in the Courtside report. Anything that's not specific, where there's any margin of error, 2K will find a way to screw us over, but that's just the nature of the game that we play, in some cases every year, right? And so looking at it, there's some good and there's some bad if you look at the Courtside report for the average person. And, you could argue what is good and what is bad, and we're going to get into all of what we think is good and bad and ugly and whatnot as we go through every single part of this Courtside report. But I think there is one word that everyone can agree on that I think describes this Courtside report, this whole reveal today, I think, better than any other word, and that is polarizing. And I think the most polarizing aspect of this, instead of me going on a rant myself, I think it's better to just start with what I think is the most polarizing aspect of this Courtside report, of this MyTeam reveal. Maybe the most polarizing thing that 2K has ever done when it comes to MyTeam in the history of MyTeam. Maybe outside
More than taking out the auction house.
Yes, I was going to say outside of the player market, because that was obviously massive, right? But this is potentially a huge deal, and that is bringing the WNBA players into MyTeam. Now, look, Harry, I know you have a big rant lined up for this. I know you do. Before you do, because I just want to quickly go over some points, and then I'm going to throw it over to you. And I want to end my little section over here by mentioning something that I mentioned to Harry over text, because I told him that there is one reason that I'm actually very concerned about this WNBA movement into MyTeam, and it's not what Harry probably thinks it is. But before I get into that, very quickly, I wanted to say first and foremost, this is a bold move, because I think 2K knew going into this year there's going to be a lot of backlash for a multitude of reasons when it comes to bringing in women athletes, even if they're professional women athletes who play the same sport as men in terms of just basketball, right? They play in different leagues, but same sport of basketball. But to bring in women into NBA 2K, MyTeam, right? That is a big deal. And I will say, I just want to give them credit for taking that risk, even though I think there is some greed behind it. And we're going to get to that in a little bit. So we're going to probably be getting players, I think, from all 13. I think there are now 13 WNBA teams. I did a little bit of research. I think the Golden State Valkyries are going to be eligible this year. I think. I don't know if they have their roster
There's
drafted or
only
anything.
13 WNBA teams.
Yes, I mean they are expanding to
Wow.
I think add 3 more to get up to 16 by 2028, which I know is a big year for a lot of sports gamers who who like basketball games because of EA's college basketball game that's going to be coming out around that time. I want to actually, you know what? I'm going to just jump right into the thing I was talking about or that I was
Go for it.
referring to earlier. I told Harry that WNBA, a lot of people are frustrated because just the fact that we have women coming into my team. I'm willing to at least give it a chance, knowing that, look, because of their heights, they're probably not going to be the most competitive players to use in the game online, right? Like, we saw so many people on Twitter and YouTube joking about, oh, when my Wemby or my Shaq or my Hakeem goes against Angel Reese, or, as someone who I guess is a very much a bandwagon New York Liberty fan, a Jonquel Jones or a Breanna Stewart is going up against Wemby or Shaq, it's probably going to be a bad time, right? But I think what not enough people are talking about, at least from what I've seen, is what 2K has effectively done. If we just do the math very quickly, let's say we have 13 WNBA teams with players eligible for my team. If each team has about 11 players, that I think adds up to 143 players that are going to be eligible from the WNBA to come into my team. The average height of those players across the league is 6 feet tall. We're going to be having so many troll pulls of WNBA cards in packs. I think this could potentially really ruin pack openings for a lot of people if we get promos with...
Imagine grinding like 400 park wins and then getting some random 5-5 WNBA player.
You see where I'm getting at, Harry. This is my big concern, is we're going to see reward cards with promo packs that are WNBA and NBA. We need to see certain packs that are in the pack market, but more so than that, we need to see the reward packs. If they're going to keep them RNG, they need to be RNG NBA packs, unless we're grinding out rewards that are specifically for WNBA. Excuse me. I mean, look, this year I played a lot of salary cap, and every single game mode in general had RNG rewards, and I got awful RNG rewards because of the pack weight, right? People discussed this year. The big topic, Harry, in case you missed it, this year in NBA 2K25, my team, was the odds they weren't great, but what was worse than the odds were the pack weight. Like, if you even look at the GOAT cards, right? It said in the GOAT packs, we had a 25% chance of pulling a GOAT player in every single pack, but that 25% wasn't an equal chance of you pulling an Oscar Robertson or a Victor Wembanyama. It was heavily skewed towards you getting Oscar Robertson, Steph Curry, Penny Hardaway, Larry Bird, Joel Embiid. The cards that are fine, but they're not going to give you the same level of excitement, and if you're still playing the game, on-court dominance as a Victor Wembanyama, a Yao Ming, a LeBron, Giannis Antetokounmpo, players like that. If they bring the level of pack weight that we had in NBA 2K25 into 26 with these 143 WNBA players, and let me tell you something right now, if we have those weighted odds of those 143 players, I think most people playing this game only know 2 of those players, or we'll say maybe 3 if you know Paige Buchers, right? You have Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Everyone knows those 2. The odds of getting them are probably going to be worse than getting the other 141 WNBA players in packs. So we could potentially be in for some of the worst rewards if they are player packs and they're RNG in my team history. So with that said, Harry, I'm gonna throw it over to you. The last thing I'll say really quickly, actually, because I did take notes on this very quickly. The one positive I could see is I don't think 2K wants the WNBA players to flop. I'm hoping that they don't only look at WNBA players as a way to screw us over with pack odds. What I am hoping is that 2K will find a way to make these shorter WNBA players, be competitive online. Then if that's the case, maybe for the first time ever, we'll see players like Steph Curry, Trae Young, Jalen Brunson, shorter guards actually be viable later on in the My Team life cycle. So that's my one silver lining that I'm hoping for, but I doubt we're going to see come to fruition. Harry, what are your thoughts on the WNBA?
I don't want to go into like a rant on you, but it's like, let's not make the game good so players like Curry are better. Let's like add undersized females on the court so Curry and all these other point guards are good. Like, that's just ridiculous. And I just want to say, first off, this will not be long, I promise. I'm gonna try it. Like, if I don't like this idea to begin with. I'm just gonna preface, and if I have to see anyone comment, or I saw people on Twitter say that if you don't like the idea of using WNBA players in my team, it's because I'm not confident in my masculinity or whatever. I don't want to curse on this YouTube channel, but yeah, you can go do stuff in the corner because it's like,
Oh my
come on,
God.
I you know I'll preface also like I'm stubbornly a purist when it comes to these my team ultimate team modes, and I admit that.
Yeah,
Like I'm
which is
I'm
valid, by
someone
the way.
that's
That's valid.
yeah, I'm someone that still doesn't like. If it was a perfect world, I'd go back to like 2K17, where like, or even going further, where like diamonds or pink diamonds were like the highest tier in the game. I think adding in all these tiers, and obviously 2K does it to make more money. Clearly, there's a point to it, but I don't like that. Like I like such a basic, bare bones my team experience, where the whole point is to build a fantasy team of players that might not ever had the chance to play together. I can imagine a world where Carmelo Anthony, my favorite player, got to play with a Michael Jordan, or Steph Curry got to play with I don't know, like Kareem. You know what I mean? You can
Yeah.
think of all these cool matchups that you can think. I can see where I get that's a fantasy option, and maybe you can say, well, who cares? Curry would never play with Kareem, so why can't we add in little 5'5" Sarah on the court to play with Curry? It's just, for me, that just takes away the realism. Like, I'm sorry, I know this isn't realistic, and I know it's a video game, but it just kills just the excitement, because you can't imagine. I don't know. I wish I can vocalize it better. I just don't know how to phrase it, but it really just takes away that sense of like realism, where I'm like, what if this happened? Because I know this is impossible of happening. They don't have WNBA. There's no women playing in the NBA, so I don't like. And if you want to say, oh, cool, this could be cool for season 1, and then as better people come along, they're not going to be as OP. I don't want anything like, I don't want to play offline against women, and it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't click for me. I don't like it. It's unrealistic. It doesn't make sense, and it goes against, like I said, the blueprint, you want to say, of my team. Like, this is just not how it should be.
Yeah.
If you want to
Harry,
add
just to
a
interject real
WNBA,
quick, I think the word that I would use to describe this is it's going to feel jarring, right? Regardless of whether you're someone who is cool with it. Like, I'm cool with it. I'm willing to give it a shot, even though I know it's going to feel jarring. It's going to feel weird. And before I let you continue, the one thing I thought of immediately was the one time that we've had players who were not NBA players in this game were those celebrity players, right? Or NFL players. And those players, I think, historically have always been only offline usage players, right? Like, when we had Dak Prescott and Justin Bieber and the rappers and stuff like that. Like, we've always had, like, whether it's NFL players or music artists or any other celebrities, like Bad Bunny, they were only players that could be used offline. This is the first time we're getting players who have not actively ever played in the NBA eligible to be played in all game modes, online and offline.
Right. Yeah, and it upsets me more because, like, there are so many ways that you can incorporate the WNBA players into NBA 2K in like a fun, cool, creative way, but they chose to do it in my team on purpose because they want to lock it behind a paywall. For instance, and we can talk about this later, but I'm just going to say it now because it's the same topic. I said this on Twitter today, and like 40 people liked it. I was like impressed because I don't really tweet on Twitter, but a lot of people liked it. They've taken this year in particular 3 different communities that wanted a specific thing, and they locked it behind a pay-to-win paywall in my team. You had the park people that have been asking for years for realistic park courts because no one wants to play on these dumb Caribbean or space. They just want to play basketball. No one wants to play on these dumb courts. So the past couple of years, starting with last year, they've given my team in the park the old school park courts that they've been asking for years. They, the Sunset Beach courts this year, the 2K16 court that we had in 2K25. These are courts that the park people want, but they put it in my team because they know in order to have fun, in order to win, you have to spend money. You have to have a good team because, especially with no instant matchmaking, you can't just get into a game. You have the Play Now people who have been dying for All-Star Team Up since they took it out years ago. So what do? They don't bring it back to give it to them so they can have fun on it. They put it in my team. So now, in order to have fun on it, you and your friends, if you want to play with friends, you have to spend money. You have to have good players in order to compete. And now they're doing this with the WNBA players. The females demographic have been dying for a WNBA My Career story. That would be
Yep.
awesome. I'd be totally on board with that. But instead of doing that and giving them something cool where they can play Park, they can play My Career, they have to lock it behind a paywall in MyTeam. To now where in order to get these amazing WNBA players that you want to play with, you have to spend money. So I think that's what pisses me off. I'm not against incorporating female, in the park, especially now that the park has become more of a casual mode versus the theater and rec and all that sort of thing. But they have to put it in MyTeam, and they have to totally change and make such a jarring change, for the purpose of making it so the females who want to play with their players have to spend money. So it just seems like they're sacrificing the fun of MyTeam and the realism approach to it, and the whole, point to it in order to in order to make money. And I find it ridiculous. I think, like I said, there's so many ways to do it. Again, you look at Madden, they had a superstar KO thing, I think in Madden 20, but it's a totally off-brand Madden thing, but you were able to get players like Giannis on your team and Snoop Dogg and all these players, of course, that would not be in the NFL, but in a fun arcade superstar KO thing, that works, and you could play with other NFL players, and it's a cool thing. But would they ever do that in MUT, where you have to put them with players? Like, they would never do that. This is, to me, it's just so ridiculous. And again, this is not an equality thing. This isn't, I don't want women to have a fair chance. Like, it just doesn't, like, if 2K, if they really cared, they'd come out with a WNBA game just for that and do their own WNBA MyTeam mode. That would be awesome. Maybe I'd consider playing that. But, and I would be upset too if they had a WNBA mode that the women loved, and then they started putting NBA players in there. It's the same thing. It just doesn't make sense. You're sacrificing the purpose of the mode, and you're just turning it to something else, because the more they keep doing this sort of thing, they're just slowly removing like the I don't know, they're just taking away. It's like I said about the auction house. They took away a staple of the mode. To me, this is like emasculating the staple of the mode. They're just burning it down into something. Like, what is this? This is just such a weird gimmick. Like, this is like not. This isn't my team. Like, I can keep going. Like, I feel like I'm not even like defending it well. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
like,
I hear what you're saying. But I think
Yeah.
I just want to say, first of all, this is why my word was polarizing, because I think, again, you're gonna have people that are leaning in the totally opposite direction, where they're gonna be like, oh, this is great, which there are arguments to be made that this is great. This is great for exposure for the WNBA, a league that has been incredibly hot over the last couple of years, in my opinion. This is a great way to get more exposure, right? Like, this is gonna be, it's almost like when I have family members or friends who played fantasy football or fantasy basketball, and they don't really know the players in those leagues, and then by the time that season of fantasy, whatever they're playing, is over, they know every single player on every single roster, and they look forward to watching those players play. And so, in a more like innocent vein, this could be really good in that regard. And I am hoping, like, again, I'm not putting faith in 2K to do well. I think there's a big difference in hoping that 2K can do well with the women players in the NBA 2K26 MyTeam, game mode.
Answer this to me. Why does it have to be my team? There's so many other ways they can incorporate it with this.
It's easy.
They don't care. 2K does not care about the exposure to the WNBA. They care about making money.
I know.
Yeah.
Again, I think the main reason that, if you were to just look at it from a financial standpoint, I think if I could be a fly in the wall in their board meeting with all their investors, or whoever they have in meetings when they're making these critical creative decisions, they probably view bringing in WNBA players as a very easy way to make more money, because now when they have these exciting pack drops with Victor Wembanyama, and let's say for example they have Victor Wembanyama and Sabrina from the New York Liberty, who I think is a tremendous three-point shooter, obviously, for the Liberty. They can make them both dark matters, and now they can tell you that the packs have 2% odds at a dark matter, but you're going to be pulling Sabrina much more often than you're pulling the Victor Wembanyama or whoever the men's, the NBA dark matter card is. I think it's an easy way for 2K to once again kind of muddy the lines, muddy the waters, make it difficult for us to know what the real odds are of pulling these players, because now we're going to have troll men NBA cards and we're going to have troll WNBA cards.
Exactly.
So that's what I think they're trying to do.
I'll say one thing and then we can move on to a
Sure,
different topic.
sure.
Just so I can quickly add in one more thing to all the people that might say, "Oh, I'm such a horrible person and I'm not self-confident with my masculinity." If 2K did a promo during the WNBA, when is the WNBA finals? Is it the same time as the NBA or
No,
is
no,
it a
no. It's
different
it's totally
month?
different. I forget when it is, but it is
What?
different. It may be
Okay,
the
let's say
winter.
it's February. Okay, January. Let's say it's January. If they did a promo in January, to hype up the WNBA finals and it was some sort of big partnership where they did the same thing. They put these OP, they can make them OP, who cares? It's January, opals are out. Make these OP WNBA players, you can use them online, and they did that for like a month or whatever, and that's like a cool promo. And then afterwards, they're completely gone from the game. I would be completely on board with that, and that's something maybe I'd even look forward to. This is unique. It's going to freshen up my team. You can use them online, but and 2K can make as much money, and honestly, they'd probably make more money because now you have a short window of time where you can get these WNBA players and use them, and after that month, you can no longer use them. I would be totally on board with that. So this isn't like an anti-women or an anti-WNBA thing. I think this is too far. I think they've crossed the line, and they've totally just gone way too far for this one.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you. It's again, I think in a way it's so cool to be playing the game during a time that something like this is coming into the game because like yes, I still like strongly believe that the WNBA players are being brought into my team this year purely for financial reason to try and make more money by making pack odds that were already really bad. They're going to make it even harder. This is going to be the hardest year potentially. Again, we don't have any proof that WNBA players are going to be in every single like Friday promo, right? We don't know that for sure yet. It's just safe to assume that because
Right.
where else would you get them? I mean, I would say it would be kind of cool. Like I was asking for grindable Tuesday content, right? Like and on Tuesdays, we rarely ever get players that are totally usable. If they want to give us sets on Tuesdays that have a hybrid of NBA and WNBA players, and then you keep the Fridays for like the packs that have only the NBA players, and it's going to be the main promo that we get every single week, I'm cool with that. My fear is going to be if on every single promo drop that we get, it's going to be NBA and WNBA, that's going to lead to a lot of shady business, I think. And it's going to really test the people that spend a lot of money on this game every single year. It's going to really test their willingness to spend money when they open up, three $100 Hall of Fame boxes and they're walking away with three of the highest tier card, but the highest tier card is a WNBA player and not an NBA player. Do you have any other remarks, Harry, or should I move on to the game changer cards? Because I think this is going to be the topic we're going to talk about, I think, maybe more than any other topic. So do you have anything else you want to add?
Go for it. No, go for it.
No? Okay. All right. I think that was a really good conversation. I just want to say really quick.
I know I do. Yeah, I agree.
And you know what? I don't think you shouldn't feel bad about anything that you said. I don't think you said anything wrong.
I don't.
And I know, but no, honestly.
No, and honestly, I'm glad I brought up the promo thing because I think that might connect with some people that might realize, I'm not. It's not that the concept is, bringing WNBA players, involving them in my team isn't so. It's making this a permanent all year thing. That is why I'm against it. So I think maybe people will kind of connect with that there are ways to do this, and I think what they did is just going too far, like I said.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, man. I totally get it, and I think early on, the one thing that I'm going to be very curious to see, which I'm not going to have access to this information, obviously, because I don't work for 2K, but I'm going to be so curious to know if 2K would keep a metric of how many people who play Domination played only the men's domination and not the women's domination, because we're going to have both a woman and men's. I forget who the women's reward is, because I'm not the most knowledgeable of WNBA players. I know like the general popular players, but I know like for regular domination it's Diamond, Pascal, Siakam, I'm pretty sure. So anyways, moving on, I think game changer cards, we really don't have a lot to talk about. I mean, if you have anything to say, please go ahead. I'm just going to quickly just go over what it generally is. I think and this term that I'm going to use, a cool concept, I'm going to use for like a number of different things in here, because conceptually a lot of what they're saying in this Courtside Reporter blog sound interesting to me, but they could sound interesting, but this is not my first rodeo. 2K plenty of times has mentioned something interesting and then immediately it flops, right? But again, the idea of this to me is kind of interesting, where you can get a number of these like gimmick cards. Like you can see here, we have a number of them. You have an MT multiplier, a rep multiplier. You can go on a win streak in Showdown, or I guess revive your win streak that you lose in Showdown. You can instantly evolve one of the Evo players. You can make domination easier, so on and so forth. And they said that they have at least 12 more. So we're going to see close to 20 of these game changer cards. My question with these is going to be, well, I want to know what they all are. I want to know how they can be earned, and more so than that, how frequently they can be earned. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if, and we'll talk about Breakout in a little bit, but I would not be shocked if when you are playing in Breakout, if some of the rewards, whether it's from the mini games or from the regular Gatekeeper rewards, are these game changer cards. And really quickly, I don't know if I still have this tweet up. I do. If you still are playing NBA 2K25 MyTeam, you have until next Friday. And again, this podcast should be going live around noon or 1 o'clock Eastern on Friday, August 15th, which means you will have roughly 1 week to get the 2K26 MyTeam challenge done. There is a slacker code that you can see right here on the screen where you get 100 overall Shea and Invincible Melo and the Coach Angel Reese card. You get these players, you complete this easy triple threat challenge to get Devin Booker, and when you do that, you'll get this NBA 2K26 MyTeam Series 1 All-Star Option Pack, which that could be pretty good. Maybe it'll get you an Amethyst or whatever the highest tier is for Series 1 cards. I will probably, either take a Wembanyama or I'll take Jalen Brunson because I'm a Knicks fan. And then they have this Game Changer MT Multiplier card, which could be interesting for Game Changer. I mean, I don't think you're going to have much to say about the Game Changers, Harry, but do you have anything to comment on when it comes to this?
Yeah, this is like classic 2K to me. Like, this is like when you're a kid and you're begging your parents to take you to the park or whatever, and they say sure, but then they have to spend like the next 3 hours taking you on errands before you go to the park. By the time you get to the park, you're kind of just, you don't even care anymore. I've been asking for something like this for such a long time. I felt like if we were getting, XP multipliers, how awesome would it be in a mode where it's really hard to make MT if we got MT multipliers? Because I get the 2K, they don't like to give you MT for playing the game, but is it really going to kill them if we make, instead of 1,000 MT from domination, 2,000 or whatever? But of course, the caveat is that they're going to add in like 19 other useless ones that will hide the MT one, so it's going to make it harder to kind of get that accolade, most likely. Because I mean, it's like, who cares if you're making a domination game on probably pro difficulty slightly easier, or if you're knocking out one breakout game out of an entire board? It just seems like there's always like a catch. Like, we're going to add in something that could be really cool and benefit the community, but we're going to make it kind of like a rarity among all these other useless game changer things. So, like, I guess I'm glad they're doing it, but like, they can't just ever add something cool and then not do anything else. So yeah,
I totally agree. Like, again, that's why I said conceptually it sounds really cool, but this is going to be like a lot of things in MyTeam this year and in previous years and probably in future years. It's going to be a wait and see approach. Let's see how they implement this, but the idea is cool. So again, We'll have to see how they end up doing it. Okay, this is a game mode that Harry was very frustrated with last year, and it is coming back. And to be fair, I don't think Harry or myself expected that this game mode was not going to come back. To be very clear, we thought maybe they would add more to it. And I will say the vibe of the way the courts look, I'm very excited about, because I was Sunset Beach back in, what was it, 2K15 or 2K16, Harry? I forget.
15.
15. Okay, wow.
Well, really? 15 through 17.
15. Yeah, that's right. But I think its initiation, the initial iteration of Sunset Beach, I think, came in 2K15, which was very exciting for me back then. 11 years ago, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yes, Triple Threat Park, and I have a meme on my Excel spreadsheet here that says "at night," because it says here "at night." I have the little SpongeBob "at night." All right. Anyways, I think it looks really nice. The thing that I'm most interested in is we get the 2v2 spots, which I actually, when I was going over the initial general 2K reveal, I think Harry was either one that pointed it out to you, saying they mentioned in the initial thing, it was like squad
totally
up
went beyond
with your buddy or something. Like, they imply twos, and I sent it to you, and I'm glad they confirmed it today. So we get twos with make it take it rules. They said they were going to bring more rewards past the usual 3 rewards that we get every day, which if you aren't, for whatever reason you didn't play 2K25, my team, you got a reward for winning 1 game in a row, 3 in a row, and 5 in a row. They're going to expand on that on not just Sundays, but every day, which that was my main grievance with the park, is it felt like it wasn't truly a spectacle. It felt like we only were meant to play it. If you wanted to play for rewards, you should only play it on certain Sundays, which I don't think is how this game mode should be, So it does feel like they are going to try to make rewards better overall. We'll see if that actually is the case. They do talk about repeatable rewards here, which I'm very interested to see how they're going to implement that. And then they talk about Streak Busters, which is a whole separate reward tier where based off of how many wins the opposition has in a row, you'll get certain rewards based off of that, which in theory sounds good because it could mean that if you have a high win streak, you're going to have an easier time potentially finding opponents compared to in 2K25, where people may see that you're on a 15-game streak and they don't want to, match up against you. Maybe now they'll be more incentivized to do so because they'll get extra rewards. I don't really have much else to say about this. I will say if Harry were to have gotten 2K26 my team, if he were to have gotten 2K26 and have played my team, I think we could have made some incredible 2v2 content. Obviously, I totally understand Harry being frustrated with the state of my team. But Harry, I've talked enough about Triple Threat Park. I don't really have much else to say about it. What are your thoughts? I know you're very frustrated about them not bringing TTO and making instant matchmaking a thing in the park. What are your general thoughts? I want to just first ask you, before you go into your general thoughts, is there anything positive you have to say about the Triple Threat Park reveal that they have for 2K26 My Team?
Yeah, the only thing I really love, I wish more so that there was instant matchmaking now because I love the court design. I think it's awesome. I think this is going to be the first year if I'm not playing, I'm probably not going to play my team, but I think this would have been the first year I played my team where I didn't, end up getting so sick of that court. I mean, like the park courts in 2K25, really cool to look at in the beginning, but there was only so much of that sunny court that I just could mentally stomach. I was already sick of it. By season 2, I don't know if I would have kept playing all year. I probably would have just been done looking at that court. So I really like the dark. I just am a fan of dark colors, and I think this is like a nice court. I remember they did like that weird purple court, I think in 2K25 or 2K24, and I got really sick of that. But this is a really beautiful, nice looking court. Really like it. You can say the rewards, they're gonna better them, but nothing I saw in the trailer pointed out to any exciting rewards. They briefly showed the ladder for undefeated streaks, and none of them look great. You saw breaking a 3-game win streak was 500 MT. Breaking a 15 win streak, 15 games, was a mere 10,000 MT. So I just with the odds of finding a 15-game win streak just to make 10K after sweating that much, who cares? Maybe the rewards will get better, but it's like the fact that we have to know in our head that we're going into a game where the rewards are going to be bad in the beginning. Who knows? I mean, remember how long did it take to change the rewards this year, where they were the same, going for an 87 plus card until season 3 or whatever. So it's for all we know, this could be the rewards for the next couple of years. 2K has done such an awful job of showing that they're gonna, Park was their main headline last year, so you would have thought that they would have really put in a lot of work to make it into a great thing. And I would say for 99.9% of the time you played my team, it sucked. It really did. I'm sorry. The rewards sucked. There hardly were any days that were must play. Then it turned into this whole event thing where it was just a way to get an event card that would hardly do anything for you. So we're already looking at how bad the rewards are going to be to start. So there's really nothing to be exciting about. Again, cool concepts. So the streak thing is cool. All these things are cool, but if the rewards are not meant well, these are just ideas, And I think it's, the undefeated thing. I just think, again, between the undefeated and no instant matchmaking, it's turning into a sweat fest. And I just don't believe That's not how triple threat should be. It should always be a fun way to play. You look at Gauntlet, you get to bring in one card, they give you 2 random cards. It just used to be a fun, casual mode to enjoy different cards, and you can't do that now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a shame. So I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. And again, it's like they're purely doing this because they know the park people want to bring back these courts. So they're giving them to MyTeam, so then you have to spend money so you can play on the courts for nostalgia. So yeah, it's disappointing, but that's all I got.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny that you mentioned, the park, my career, community. I have another kind of hot take, which I don't know if I shared this with you, but I was thinking about it when they revealed, I think it's the next thing. Yes, it is actually the next thing that we're going to talk about, which is All-Star Team Up, is, we have Park that was introduced last year, right, in NBA 2K25. So we have the Park. And then, you were talking about how we have WNBA. Like, we're bringing in all these communities into MyTeam. It
Play now All-Star Team Up.
Yes, exactly. It feels like we're almost getting, like, if you were to say, okay, we have All-Star Team Up, and the first thing you think of is regular Team Up that we had for years in the regular NBA 2K Play Now menu. But if you were to look at All-Star Team Up as rec, and that's going to be our next topic, right? We're going to talk about All-Star Team Up. Doesn't it feel like MyTeam is almost kind of shaping up to be like its own version of like a card collecting park game mode, where we have All-Star Team Up, we have the park, we have all these different game modes now that were already out there in park for a while, right? Like, I mean, rec was a thing that I was playing in 2K15, 2K16 with viewers in my old Twitch community 10 years ago. Like, we're bringing all this stuff, I think, into MyTeam, and I think that's a decent segue into All-Star Team Up, which, before I throw it to you, Harry, really quickly, because I don't have a lot to say about this game mode. The way it works, 5v5, 6-minute halves. I need to figure out how the rewards are going to work, because in the blog, I'm going to highlight it. It is right here, last paragraph, last couple of sentences. You can also earn rewards as a team by defeating opposing teams to collect wins. For every 5 games you win with the same squad, everyone will receive a reward, even if the wins aren't consecutive. So that makes me feel like, I hope this is like a separate reward ladder for people that have 4 friends that they're going to play this game mode with religiously, because I don't know 4 other people personally who play this game. I mean, if Harry's not playing, that's even less people that I know who are going to play this game. Right? Like, I have my boy, shout out De Los Muertos from Reddit, who I've been playing Park Streaks with all year, or, the last few months at least. Like, it's just me and him. If me and him team up with randoms, we're not going to have access to this rewards ladder. But anyways, the concept is kind of cool, right?
Because, think about it. That's like it's like, in order to get like a reward, you have to lock in, what, like 3 hours of your time or whatever?
Well, I mean, I don't know how long these games are going to take. If they are 6-minute halves, you'd have to win 5 games.
Think about it. It's 12 minutes, so the game will probably take 20, 25 minutes.
No, it's going to take 6-minute halves is going to take, for 5 games, probably going to take, I mean, I don't know what the math is, like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Like, that's a lot of time to play consecutively. And you'd have to win all
it takes
those
is
games.
One person to be like, deuces, I gotta go to lunch.
I gotta go to lunch. I gotta do like whatever. Like, certain friend groups are gonna be able to do this, but as someone who is in his 30s, it's gonna be tough for me to do. Like, if I were to go to my girlfriend and be like, hey, like, if I'm streaming it, sure, like, shout out to her, she's the most supportive partner. But like, I wouldn't feel comfortable being like, hey, I want to do this every single day. Like, for me, that's like, as a man in his 30s, that's like fast track to becoming single. Like, I don't want to do that, And again, like, I'd be doing that for probably mediocre rewards. Regardless, before I throw it to
your girlfriend is like, your girlfriend's like, did you at least get anything good? And you're like, well, we won 4 games and 1 guy quit. So
she'd be like, oh, you only got 1,000 MT. If you got 10,000, I would stay with you. Like, that's the kind of person she would be. Which,
well, then you have to beat a 15-game win streak.
Exactly. So look, honestly, the concept is really cool. I'm sure they're going to have a separate ladder for this. And look, I thought we were going to get either Clutch Time Online or this. I obviously preferred Clutch Time Online, but we'll talk about it. With the way another game mode has been modified in terms of online and offline, There's a world where I think, because I just pre-ordered 2K26 today. There's a world where when it comes to online gameplay, there's a world where almost 100% of my online gameplay time is dedicated towards co-op game modes in Triple Threat Park and this, which is pretty crazy for me. Harry, while I'm choking on my own saliva, let me know what are your thoughts on All-Star Team Up. Which I to be fair, I don't think you're going to be overly negative about this aspect. I don't think this is like a make or break for you, but I don't think this is like a game mode where you're like, oh, this is as bad as WNBA players coming into my team.
No, but as someone who really has a big respect for Play Now in 2K, I really feel for the Play Now guys because I saw today they haven't. I think it was like 6 years ago was like the last time they added classic teams in 2K. So between that and then taking out All-Star Team Up and then giving it to my team where now you have to spend money to have a good team to play, I really feel for them because a lot of guys are upset about it. I'm not going to call them out, but I saw a very useless MyTeam streamer tweet out that, oh, it's the same thing, they're all base MyTeam cards at the end of the day. Like, yeah, back then it was base card against base card. This was not, I'm gonna bring in base
God.
LeBron while Connor with his mom's credit card is gonna bring in GOAT LeBron to it's totally different. Like it just I feel bad for them that again they're taking what used to be a really fun way to bring the community together into this huge paywall thing. And think about it. It's one thing to play co-op. I'm not ranting about it's more just kind of funny. It's like, you're talking about winning 5 games and time being the issue. What are the odds of you being then matched, especially if you're playing against a squad? Like, you're probably going to be matched up with at least one person who's bringing in like a free agent card or like someone who's new to my team.
Absolutely.
So like this game is going to become unbearable by a certain point, and it just feels like, I don't know. It just.
I mean, look, from a content creation perspective, I will say it's going to be a lot of fun if you're playing with like one other person and you're playing this game mode, and it's like, can me and
I think this a game only. I'm sorry to cut you off, and then I'll end it. I think a mode like this only works when everybody's on an even playing field, where everybody can bring in a card. Not there's such a money advantage to this now, to where that there's no even playing field. That's why I think it's just become. It's like, think about how annoying it is when you get on with a friend to play Park and it's like you bring in 2 good players and then that third person brings in like Amethyst LeBron or something. This is like 10 times worse if you're playing with someone and then like 3 people who don't play my team, who are like gold rep or whatever, bring in a bad player. I think at the end of the day, I just wish the gameplay was fun, because I think if the gameplay was fun, I wouldn't care about the reward. I wouldn't care who I'm playing with, but I just don't find the gameplay fun enough to where I would get pumped, because I think if this was like 2K17, I would be super stoked to play a game that I already love, and now they're just adding in cool modes to my team. But I don't like the gameplay enough to get excited over something that's probably not going to reward you well.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, I think that is like for you and for a lot of other people that don't enjoy the gameplay. It depends on how much you value the gameplay, right? Like if you don't enjoy the gameplay, like if you don't enjoy playing the game, you're not gonna have a good time because the rewards are ass. Like,
yeah, and same thing with the 2-on-2 Park. I love Park. I love triple threat. Yeah. That's my thing. If you would have added 2-on-2 to a gameplay with 2K that I loved, I would think this was like literally the greatest addition they could have. I've probably been asking for this for years, but like, it's because I know the gameplay is gonna suck and I know the content is gonna suck for it. It's like there has to be like a balance, or not even a balance. It has to shift somewhere, because right now the content is gonna suck and the gameplay is gonna suck. So it's like hard to get excited for all these cool concepts like the 2-on-2 and like the All-Star Team Up.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Again, it's good. It's very simple to me, because there's so many people around this time of year who get frustrated over my team, or who have been frustrated, and then they say, oh, I'm not gonna play my team because, and then they give all these reasons. I think it's so easy when it comes to making your decision to buy the new NBA 2K or buy any new video game or just do any venture. If you enjoy putting time into that thing, then invest in it. If you enjoy playing NBA 2K games, like I was very critical of NBA 2K25, my team, right? But the reason why I'm going to buy NBA, well, I already pre-ordered. The reason why I pre-ordered NBA 2K26, my team, is because I enjoy playing basketball games, right? And I admit that is a me thing, right? Like right now, this is the only game we have, and it's, the only basketball game that's out there that I still enjoy playing, right? Like,
Right.
look, it's not perfect, right? And for a lot of people, like Harry, and there are a lot of people in Harry's shoes, many of whom, like Harry, have quit playing 2K in general for years. Like, look at how many MyTeam content creators alone have left because of there isn't enough content for the NMS people. If you're playing No Money Spent, there's not enough content for you, which I totally get. Those people have left, and I'm blanking on a lot of their names because I haven't really been as involved in the MyTeam community ever since I left in 2K17, and then I just recently came back. But like the major NMS content creators, they've all left because they didn't enjoy that. Their No Money Spent content was Harry's gameplay. Harry was, you guys maybe didn't get to enjoy it as much in the pack and play gameplay that we did this year or last year. But like in previous years when I would play against Harry, his dribbling skills with the gameplays in previous 2Ks made him borderline unguardable, and it made it really fun. Like it was skill based. Like if you were good at dribbling, you were good at the game. What was nice was it was different flavors, right? You didn't have to be good at dribbling to be good at the game. You could still be good at running plays, pick and roll, understanding animations. But you could be good at understanding animations and taking advantage of them as a dribbler, knowing what dribble moves gave you separation. And that whole
I used to spend hours like in the my court in like the park having so much fun, like learning dribbling and all these different things. And I just like I can't, and this won't turn into a rant, I'm just gonna say like I can't wrap my brain around the fact that because you can become OP at dribbling and really good after lots of time of practice, that they have to minimize it and make it like just tone down a skill gap. It's dribbling. It's such a big part of basketball. Like how big, you go on YouTube and you look up Allen Iverson, greatest ankle breakers, it has millions of views. Like dribbling is such a huge component of basketball that people love, and people, look at the Globetrotters that are like worldwide for dribbling and all these things. It's like football taking away like, throwing abilities or whatever. It's just the weirdest like thing to me that I just can't get, that like they've made it such a thing where it's not fun to dribble. Like I just gave up on it. Like I literally, like I don't even look at myself as a dribbler anymore because it hasn't been fun or good for years. And the people who are really good at dribbling, and there still of course are people in this game who are god squads, you look at the dribbling and you're like, that doesn't even look fun because it's just not fun. It doesn't look fun. It doesn't feel fun. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I
So
totally
I'm glad
agree.
you brought
Totally
that
agree.
up.
Anyways, moving on from All-Star Team Up, I just wanted to point that
Go
out
for
because
it.
obviously, look, I wanted to mention that because I think a lot of people who are looking at, deciding on whether or not they want to pre-order, 2K right now, right? If they want to pre-order 2K26, I think the one thing I'll say before we move on to the next topic in this Courtside report is kind of like what I just said before Harry was just right now talking about the gameplay and how frustrated he's been, is like, I think if you're not going to buy the game strictly because you want to make a stand against 2K as a company, I need you to understand, I want to be very real with you if you're watching this video and that's why you don't want to buy 2K26. You not buying the game does not impact 2K at all, because the people who are going to pre-order the game, a lot of them, and I'm not in this group, but a lot of them are going to spend thousands of dollars on 2K26.
Oh yeah.
And that's going to happen whether you buy the game or not. So it's not that deep. The way I look at it, because I used to be in that same boat as you guys who are watching this video right now, watching this podcast, which, by the way, if you are, I really appreciate that, and I know Harry does too. We enjoy doing this, even if this is Harry's last one potentially doing this. But if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I don't want to make an investment towards 2K. I don't want to give 2K my money. I mean, if you want to do that, sure. But if you're doing that, but you also like secretly enjoy still playing this game, there's nothing wrong with playing 2K. Because look, if you're like, oh, I don't want to give them $150 for this pre-order, we just saw, shout out 2K OG, never have interacted with him in my life. He just put out a YouTube video, which takes a lot of balls to do, saying that he spent $32,000 plus on 2K25 MyTeam. And he's somewhat bigger channel than me, but he's not like, I think he admitted to this, he's not making enough profit from his content to even be remotely close to breaking even on the 32,000 that he's invested in 2K25. He's just doing it because he enjoys it. And for every 2K OG, for every CB the Grenade, for every, on a much grander scale, Killzamoy, who's out there spending tens of thousands of dollars on this game mode every single year, there are tens of people, maybe hundreds of people, who spend similar amounts of money who just don't have a platform that we don't know exist. They're out there. I promise you they're out there. And the reason why I feel confident in making that claim is because of how 2K has modified MyTeam to really be catered towards the heavy money spenders with all the festivals that we got in 2K25. And I think we're going to see more of that in 2K26, because in that graphic, which if I was a good content creator, I would have had it pulled up ahead of time, which I could scroll through the MyTeam Twitter. Maybe I'll find it. But in the teaser that we got a graphic, I think it was on the NBA 2K Twitter, where they were giving us the schedule for when we're going to be getting certain courtside reports, and certain streams for like the for the park, and my career, and WNBA stuff, and my team, all that stuff. We saw super packs literally in that graphic, so we're going to probably get super packs sooner. And the reason why they can do that is because my team, I think, is now unfortunately catered more so towards the money spenders and less so towards the people that are just going to grind this game organically and stuff like that. I have the graphic up right now. You can see right here, super pack right there in that corner. I'm sorry you can't see it right now, Harry, but trust me, it's there. You can see it. It's going to be at the hour and 6 minute mark, which I think is a good time for us to transition on from the All-Star team up to King of the Court. I mean, look, Harry and I don't think are going to have that much to talk about this. Yeah. Just really quickly, just to go over the general notes about it. They referenced a bunch of times on the stream talking about this, that there's going to be a higher difficulty, which I think is their way of saying this is the only MyTeam game mode at launch that's going to be green or miss. I know they talked about green or miss a lot for the competitive game modes in NBA 2K26. I think it's going to be green or miss, which makes you probably think, oh, green or miss means this is probably going to be more catered towards comp, until you see how the placement works for King of the Court. To me, the placement makes it seem more casual friendly, because it's going to take the top 4 highest scores from your weekend's games, because yes, it's not going to be from 1 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern anymore. When I heard they were going to change this to the full weekend format, kind of like the NBA, or sorry, the NFL, Madden's weekend league, like how EAFC has their own weekend league, I believe, or if not, then like how FIFA and FIFA Ultimate Team used to have their weekend league. You have the full weekend. You have from Friday, I think at 6 p.m. Eastern, until Sunday, or I guess early Monday morning if you're looking at Eastern time, until 2:59 a.m. Eastern on Monday to get your games in. As long as you play 4 games, you're gonna, I think technically as long as you play 3 games, you're gonna rank somewhere, hopefully. But if you play 4 games, you're gonna have a chance, I guess technically, at ranking number 1 and getting that 1 million VC and the 10,000 USD if you're on Xbox or on PlayStation. It also is obviously, I think everyone is on this like immediately. Not only does this format seem more casual friendly, it seems to be very booster friendly. If you're boosting, this could be very easy for you to rank top 1%. Maybe if you're lucky, win a weekend. And they made it seem like it's going to be easier to qualify. You don't have to be like Amethyst rep. You don't have to play 3 showdown games. It's going to be based on the amount of rep you accrue every week. They didn't specify how much rep, but I feel like it's not going to be all that difficult. It should be easier to qualify for King of the Court every weekend compared to in 2K25. I don't know if there's much to talk about here with King of the Court. Harry, is there anything that you want to comment on that I did not mention?
Yeah, this won't be a long thing. I find it funny that this is like another example of them alienating another community in my team. It's like they've alienated the casuals who enjoy clutch time and triple threat and all these different things. And now it seems like they're doing it to the comp because, I mean, listen, anyone could get 4. Anyone could get lucky by playing really bad people or by boosting, like Jan said, and getting some high scoring games. So yeah, I really just like, I'm not a comp person, and I'm I think on one hand, this is great for the less skilled 2K player to have fun and maybe try to win $10,000. But I just feel bad for the comp people because I think that in order for my team to be prosperous, you have to satisfy those two sides. You have to satisfy the casuals and you have to satisfy the comp people. And it really seems like this year in particular, they're really screwing all of these factions over and they're just letting the whales, get what they want. So yeah, it's sad. Like it's one of those things where like I'm not comp, but like there has to be something good in the game for comp people to make my team like a respectable mode. So like it kind of bums me out that it's it's instead of taking the route of making it by like win percentage or figuring out another cool way to make it so the comp can prosper. It really just seems like this is a Flash or
Wait, Harry, can you hear me okay? Your audio is kind of cut out for a second. All right, I don't know.
Hello?
Okay, now I can hear
Hello?
you. Now I can hear you. For a second, your audio
You
cut
can hear
out
me?
there. Yes, I can hear you.
When did I cut out? At what point
You
of
cut
my
out like
promo?
less than 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, I was
you were
just
talking about how
it's sad
Splash is
that
like frustrated with.
Yeah,
this,
no,
which
I
I'm
was just
pulling
gonna
up
say
his
like
tweet.
it's sad. Am I cutting out now? I'm good.
No, you're good. You're totally good. You're totally
Okay,
good.
yeah. I was just gonna say that it's sad that like they're just alienating this comp community, and it's a bummer because I think like it's a big screw you to guys like Splash or Debo that probably would have won a good amount of money. So it seems like they need to have that comp element in my team, even if I'm not comp, and it just seems like this is not that at all. So what is there for the comp guys to do? Because they're not going to play Showdown, which is useless in all ways. So it just seems like if they're going to make it a cool 10,000 reward prize, let's make it a cool thing where the best of the best can compete for it, not just anyone can get on and get lucky, and get $10,000.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, right now on stream, I believe you guys are able to see this. I'm showing Splash's Twitter profile, and you can see here he says, "I'm not gonna lie, that King of the Court system, the worst shit ever." And then 2 tweets later, someone I guess tweets at him or I guess replies to that tweet and says, "How would you do it?" And he quote tweets that and says, "Just have a tournament or make it SBMM, skill-based matchmaking. At the end, only taking 4 games when so many people boost is crazy," which is true. Again, that's why I said this setup for King of the Court is less comp friendly. It's more casual friendly, and as of right now, unless 2K has a way of vetting boosters, it's very booster friendly, which is it's really, really scary. We're gonna have to see what 2K is going to do. We're gonna have to see what the rewards are. Obviously, no one knows. We're not gonna know a lot of this stuff until people are able to play the game on day one. And I did mention this. This is a good time for me
Let me
to
ask you one thing
go
out of curiosity.
Sure.
Do you think that if there were more, because obviously if this was like a real comp thing, like the amount of money that Splash would win this year would be insane. Like, do you think if we had more comp people in the community that were at Splash's level, do you think that would have been more of a factor for 2K to make this into a comp thing? Like, do you think there only being such a limited amount of people that would win this every week, that's why 2K felt they had to do this?
Yes, I think so. I think 2K does want to have King of the Court be as involved as possible because this whole event's being sponsored by a major company and AT&T. I think they want to have people that are playing, and I think if you saw what we had this year, which was on Xbox, E-Bands, and on PS, on PlayStation, we had, Splash and Debo winning the majority of them. I think it'll kind of demotivate people from wanting to play, and then we'll have the same people winning $10,000 every single week. So I do think this was, everything 2K done is done intentionally. I've said it time and time again. I think the people that are the smartest at these companies are the economists that they hire. They know exactly how to manipulate everyone who plays this game to spend as much money as possible. They got me, someone who has only spent money, in the last year before 2K25. In 2K24, I really only spent money on the Pro Pass. They got me to up my my money spending, I guess, by $300 because I bought three Hall of Fame boxes on top of all the Pro Passes that I bought. And on top of that, with me being like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that, I bought the $150 version of NBA 2K26 MyTeam. So like their model is working, and they're only going to find a way to make this, more greedy, obviously, as a company.
Can I add one quick thing, by the way?
Sure.
I think also like we're missing like I think it's funny that or not funny, but it's interesting that like I think the 2K content creation, especially on my team, has been kind of low. I don't want to say low because I think you're great. Obviously, I don't want to say it like that, but I think that like the hype of my team when it comes to you can hear me right. I
Yeah, I
just want to
can.
make
Loud and
sure
clear. You're good, man. I
the
promise you're
hype
good.
of the hype of the content creation has been low. I just feel like we're missing out on such an opportunity to where like everybody knows Splash, everybody knows Ty but everybody knows all these guys. Like I think it would be awesome if there were like some sort of tournament where it would lead to a finals where we could see these two go at it for $10,000. Like the amount of publicity that would get in the 2K community, not just my team, I think would be huge. Like I feel like there is such a missed opportunity to I don't know how they would do it because obviously I mean it's the full weekend. Maybe now they could do it since it's just a day where they can make it where it's harder to get into the tournament, but it's like a bracket system where then you could all watch on Twitch or Kick, the finals compete. Like that would be fun. Like I'd even look forward to that to watch the best complete or compete, on like streams. So I just feel like we're missing out and stuff like that. That could be really cool for the community.
No, definitely. I totally agree. I think outside of that, we really don't have much to talk about when it comes to King of the Court. Let's move on to Breakout. I don't know how much Harry's going to want to talk about this, but I want to talk about this a little bit because they made one change, which is a suggestion that I made pretty early in NBA 2K25 when I was talking about the rewards. We're going to get to that in a second. They talk about the Breakout Gauntlet. I want to first of all know, they say right here in the very first sentence, another game mode within Breakout. It makes me wonder if we're going to keep the regular Breakout format, but then the Breakout Gauntlet is a separate choice that we can pick from that. We'll have to see, obviously, when the game comes out. We're not going to have the answer to that until then. But Breakout Gauntlet, the way this basically works is whatever players you use in your Breakout run, you lose access to. But you're going to be able to, through completing objectives, get some of those players back randomly. You can't pick and choose. Like if you have a lineup in triple threat with like LeBron, Jalen Brunson, and we'll say Wemby, for example, you may get Jalen Brunson back, even though you want LeBron. Although I don't know why you would want LeBron over Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is the best player in the in the NBA, but whatever. Moving on from that, I like that the Breakout board seems to be more linear. Like it seems to be less confusing. We also have a full year of us understanding what Breakout is now, which is kind of nice. The thing that I love, the thing that I was referring to earlier when I was talking about the recommendation that I made earlier in NBA 2K25's life cycle about how they can modify rewards is now if we have 3 lives and you were to go and play for one of the gatekeeper rewards, your Breakout run doesn't end. You only lose a life and you can keep playing. So if you're someone that is good at Breakout, you're going to get rewarded potentially by being able to get multiple rewards. They may not all be good rewards. They may all be awful rewards, but at least you're getting 3 of them. And that is an improvement over the poo-poo platter that we got that was Breakout in NBA 2K25. They also mentioned that mini games are coming back, but we don't know how frequently they're going to come back. So again, conceptually, this Breakout Gauntlet sounds significantly better than Breakout that we had in NBA 2K25, but a lot of it is going to have to be wait and see. We need to see how often we see those mini games. We need to see what those rewards look like. We need to see how easy Breakout is. My whole stance, before I throw it to you, Harry, in general, with offline and online play when it comes to rewards and agendas and stuff like that, I am totally cool with 2K making the agendas harder than they were in 2K25 because the majority of the agendas that we got in 2K25 were very easy to get done for horrendous rewards. I would rather see a slight increase to reward quality, even if that meant that the agendas were harder to accomplish, because then that develops a skill gap and you're rewarding the people who are better at the game, who are, even if they're better at the game offline, you're rewarding them. There should be a skill gap on multiple levels, in my opinion. And those people that are better at the game, who, even if they're not better at the game gameplay wise, if they're better at finessing the game, if they're better at understanding how to manipulate Breakout to work in their favor, they know that, okay, I'm not great at the game, but I know that if I'm going to lose players in the early stages of Breakout when it's an easier difficulty, I'm going to bring in my worst players, save my best players for the later rounds of Breakout so that I don't lose them earlier on. let those players get rewarded just because they understand how to play your game mode. That's all I want when it comes to Breakout. Again, conceptually, Breakout seems, I don't say exciting, it seems intriguing. I'm more interested in playing Breakout now than I was a year ago for Breakout in 2K25. But again, we'll have to see. Harry, I know you don't really care much about. I mean, it's called Breakout Gauntlet. It's not the gauntlet that you used to love from years ago. But do you have any word or any comment on the Breakout Gauntlet that they mentioned for 2K26 MyTeam?
And not really. I mean, I'll quickly add. It's kind of funny. I said this in like the podcast before, or maybe before that one. The concept is something that I've been asking for years. Where instead of having a triple threat ladder and a clutch time ladder and this and that, combine it into one thing where it's not such a repetitive thing where you can play different modes and get rewards. Little did I know, because I thought maybe instead of having 5 mediocre rewards for 5 different modes, they would combine everything and have one great reward. Last year, they kind of did the opposite. They took away all 5 rewards and they pretty much added one even worse reward.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it's disappointing. I feel like it could be so much better. It's so promising what 2K. I think 2K has a strength that no other sports game has, where it's not just Madden, where there's only so much you could do on the field. You have your triple threat, you have your clutch time, you have your full games. I just think like there's so much potential of making it a really fun online offline mode with holidays and promos and doing stuff with Breakout where they mix it up every week. There's so many cool things, and it felt like they did not capitalize on that. So I mean, I'm interested, I guess you can say, to see what they do, but I don't think until there's a game where you don't get at least a mini door game or something, or a ball drop every game to get something, I just don't see the excitement in it. Like, you should be able to get something every game, at least now. Maybe, I mean, how they worded it seems like maybe every 9 games now you can get 3 rewards, because you get a reward possibly every 3 games. I mean, it scares me in a way that they couldn't even tell us one reward that you could get as a final reward, because I feel like, maybe they don't know, or there can't be much excitement over it if they couldn't even release it in the in the blog. And it feels like they're probably doing what they did last year, where like, it's going to be so randomized, and maybe every now and then you'll get like a player that's in the auction house kind of thing. They want you to like get a really good reward, but it's still going to be very RNG what you get, with very low odds of getting something good. So I don't know. I don't want to be super negative, because who knows, maybe this is going to be great. I just wish that at a minimum you could get like a ball game or whatever they call it every game, just to get something so you don't waste your time playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the one thing that I do agree with, is there are going to be a lot of people who are going to see that they're bringing back mini games on a more frequent basis, and they're going to complain that, well, we used to get mini games after every single game, literally
Every game.
2 years ago in 2K24. A MyTeam that a lot of people hated because of the player market. They gave us mini games after every single game, and it was the same case in previous MyTeams for like multiple years, almost for like a full presidential term of 4 years. We had mini games for every single game after you won in every single game, offline and online. So I totally hear you. And it's incredible, again, that 2K has done a terrific job manipulating all of us, myself included, being like, okay, we didn't give you any mini games last year. If you wanted to get a wheel spin, you had to go through a warp to play an additional 16 games or so, or 12 games. You had to play at minimum, I think, 24 games to get access to a wheel spin or a vault or a ball drop or whatever in 2K25, which is horrific. That's 24 more games or 23 more games than you have to play in 2K24 to have access to the same mini games. So,
right.
We're going to see it more often, and people are celebrating that. I'm celebrating that. But it obviously should be better. We should be seeing rewards more frequently. So,
and to quickly say one more thing, and then we'll move on
please,
to the next topic.
Please.
One thing I am happy about, and I wasn't a big Breakout fan, and I know you've said in the past I'm not an offline player. I'll play an offline grind if it's rewarding. I just feel like they haven't been rewarding in the past. I feel like this year could be similar to what like WWE 2K did with the universe mode, where they had all these new elements of universe mode, but none of them worked. Like, they had a match table where you could pick out what percentage of matches you want to see in your shows, and that didn't really work, and that's other features that didn't really work. So I really like that. It seems like this year, I mean, I hope they said it in the blog, so I'm not going to take it as gospel, but if they do find a way where they actually make it so those objectives in the breakout where they matter and they're not just really meaningless. I like, maybe it will be a cool concept that where, if you do the objective, then you can keep your players. Like that could be really cool. I really hope that they fix where the difficulties matter, because at first we were sold the bill of goods that the harder the difficulty, the better the rewards, which really did not seem to be true. So if this year, if the objectives actually have a point to them and they entice it to where the higher the difficulty goes, you'll get better rewards. Like I think that could be fun, because I like, for me, I just get bored playing the same triple threat game on rookie mode to get rewards. Like it could be fun and kind of similar in a way to playing people online if you play like maybe triple threat on like superstar difficulty where the rewards are going to be a lot better. So I think that could be fun. So I hope that they find a way to make those two things actually work this year.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I completely agree. We'll have to see. Again, breakout, like with a lot of other things in this
You never know.
report. I mean, you never know. It's going to be a wait and see approach. We're going to have to see what they ultimately end up bringing when the game goes live in 2 weeks. So, okay,
Yes.
Salary cap. I briefly referred to this earlier. I think this is actually a great change, and it does feel like 2K, after having a year where they really isolated the offline player, they are trying to make some changes to cater towards the offline player. Basically, the way salary cap works now is you're going to be able to play salary cap offline and online, and you're going to be able to earn the same rewards. It is going to take more offline gameplay than online, but what I love about this, as someone who played, as those of you guys who've been rocking with the BrothSyndi channel all year in NBA 2K25 know, when it comes to me playing or me making content on this channel, 99% of my content outside of random videos has been related to salary cap. I mean, the salary cap report was my bread and butter. I am bringing it back for NBA 2K26, and I was waiting until we got the Courtside report to announce that, because I didn't know if they were going to bring this game mode back. And not only are they bringing it back, now I think as a content creator who focuses on salary cap, I'm going to potentially have a larger audience, because the people who played this game offline and were intimidated by playing salary cap, maybe you played salary cap earlier on in the year when it was more casual, but then when 2K opened the doors to the tier 1 showdown players who were frustrated with showdown rewards by making the salary cap rewards better, and the showdown players who were in tier 1 saw, oh, there is no skill-based matchmaking in salary cap. We can go to salary cap and we can beat down on all those casual players who don't have the players that we have and don't have the same skill level that we have. It really frustrated a lot of people. Now, if I'm someone who I want to grind out my salary cap, whatever, the ladder or whatever they're calling it, if I want to grind out that reward track, I can do half of it online and half of it offline. And even if I just do half of it online, that's going to save me a lot of time in offline grinding. But with offline grinding, if I come home from work and the girlfriend's sleeping and I have like an hour where I can stay awake and I don't feel like I need to go to bed right at that moment, I can grind salary cap and I can feel productive because I made progress towards that rewards, what's it called? The same rewards track as we had with the online salary cap. The fact that it's the same rewards track, I think, is a W. Like that's honestly really, really nice. Like it's a nice quality of life improvement, because now I can feel like, if I'm someone who, like you guys have seen all year, I have historically waited until the final week of a salary cap round to get the points. That screws me over, because now I'm subjecting myself to torture playing against super sweats all the time. Now I can play against those sweats earlier on in the round, and then I can casually and slowly play offline on my own pace to get to that salary cap reward total that I need. So I think this is honestly really nice. Harry, I know you didn't play much salary cap at all this year, if at all. Do you want to comment on anything at all?
That was my main mode when I played like season 2, and I played.
Really?
I think season 1 and 2. I did every salary cap. Yeah, this is honestly one of those things where like, I'm honestly surprised I never thought about this. I've never once crossed my mind salary cap offline. I think it's sad, because I think this is such an awesome idea. Like, I wish I was more excited for 2K, because this would have been probably the main thing I would be pumped about if we had triple threat and all. Like, I just think, like, if there is a brighter cloud over me, and they brought back triple threat. They brought back a clutch time, and they had this mode. I think you said earlier this probably would have been one of the most hype my teams of all time, where you have the twos and the parks and all-star team up, and you have this now. Like I think these are all really solid additions, but I just feel like without that staple of a quick online game that you could play like a CTO or TTO. I don't know, like that's a big thing for me. But yeah, no, I'll focus on this. I think it's a great idea. I like that it's the same rewards as online, so you kind of have the choice. Do I want to have a quicker experience and play online because it is a quicker progression, or do I want to take it slower but have a less stressful experience offline? Like
Yeah.
maybe the move might be, like Jan said, the first couple seasons where everybody is more at an even playing field with the earlier cards. It might be better to play online, and then maybe once season 3, season 4 comes around, when the comp guys are starting to be like, well, King of the Court is becoming useless because I have no chance of winning when randoms can just win. Maybe I'll play salary cap and exploit that. Well, now you can play offline, so that could be a cool time to switch because I'm sure there's weekends where I saw Jan was kind of getting fed up with salary cap and playing
Oh,
online. Hey, I'm
absolutely.
sure honestly it could be a good break. Honestly, I feel like the healthiest thing to do is to play both. Not at the same time, of course, but maybe play one, and then once you start to get sick of online, all right, let me take a week off so I don't have to play online this week. I'll play offline. And then I think this is awesome. I think it's a great idea. I'm curious if they allow position locks in the offline because I know in domination it's kind of pointless for MT because you make a lot less MT with position locks. But I feel like that might be OP offline because I think position locks is typically really good against the CPU. So I wonder if they'll let you do that because that'd be pretty interesting. But yeah, this is a great idea. I'm shocked, like I said, that I've never once thought that they could do this. So props to 2K. This is
Yeah,
my first positive thing I've said all podcast, really, without the negative.
that's crazy. And we just hit an hour and a half, and that's your first positive.
Jesus.
That is
Oh my
crazy.
God.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. No, seriously. I mean, I agree. It's really cool. And what's great about this for me, content wise, and then we'll move on to the next section because we really don't have all that much else to talk about here. At least I think. The nice thing for me is the salary cap report can now come back and it's going to apply to offline and online because assuming the salary values are going to be the same for both game modes or for both offline and online, it's going to make it really easy for me to make these gameplay or make these videos for you guys. Maybe there are easier ways for you to build lineups for offline because you're not going to have to worry as much about bringing in meta players. You can kind of build a more well-rounded, balanced team, kind of like how how I've been building teams in salary cap all year, not leaning on a starting 5 the entire time. It's going to make those videos, I think, even more valuable because you're going to potentially be playing more salary cap games if you are playing offline because you're not going to make as many points. You're not going to get you're not going to progress, I should say, as quickly playing salary cap offline as online. So we'll hopefully be able to make those videos for you guys, help you make the best lineup choices possible to progress through salary cap as quickly as possible, whether you're an offline or online player. The next section here, they talk about getting started in MyTeam. I think this is pretty useless. They showed a couple of free agent packs. I think everyone's going to pick the Luka, Wilt Chamberlain, and Victor Wembanyama. The MyTeam arena, I actually saw a lot of people talk about this. A lot of people called it useless. Some people said it was cool. I think the idea is kind of cool, depending on how it looks like. I mean, I think I'm all in favor of showing off your accolades, being able to show off that you got, if you won King of the Court, if you ranked highly in King of the Court, if you, I don't know what else you can show, award-wise or trophy-wise, in the park or in the, in that arena. I guess you can show off your rep. They're talking about showing off your rep here, but I guess the idea of that is kind of cool. I kind of like being able to look back at what I've accomplished in a particular year. I like that idea. I don't know how 2K is going to implement that, but I like that idea of the arena, even if it's not like a big deal. Like, this is kind of like a meh thing for me, but I think it could be cool, but this is more of like a thing that I find cool optically, not something that I think is going to improve the quality of the game. Do you have anything you want to add to when it comes to the MyTeam arena, Harry?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think, one thing that 2K, I find they do a better job than any other sports game is the customability. I think this is the only sports game that allows you to make uniforms and jerseys and courts and arenas and all that sort of thing. So I think this is another cool thing that kind of takes it a step further. So I'm totally for it. Again, this is, like you said, this isn't like a make or break sort of thing, but it's like a nice thing to kind of look back on. You look at my career and how you can have your rings and your banners and your my cord to kind of look at all the different things. So I think this could be really fun and make it, add like one other thing that'll make my team, stand out from your my team or someone else's my team based on what we get done. So I think it's a pretty cool flex. I like it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It seems really, really, really interesting, but again, like like everything else, it's a wait and see kind of approach. Okay, coach development. Now, I think a lot of people are like, "What the hell are they doing?" And to be
This
fair,
is your name like written all over it.
yes,
Like I
okay,
really, this is
thank
not for
you.
me at all, but this is 100. This is like the Jan Moses
Yes,
improvement,
this is, you know what, I'm gonna try to not go off on too long of a tangent here, but when I first fell in love with sports games years ago, since like 90% of the 2K community were fetuses, it was because I loved playing franchise modes, association modes. My first love in sports games was playing franchise mode in Madden, and then that became playing NFL Head Coach '09 in Madden. I loved that game mode because I got to own a franchise in a video game. That was so cool to me as a kid. I get to make all these massive choices. Hiring a coach, or I guess I was a coach. I guess like hiring the right players, working on developing, your own scouting department, all that kind of stuff. I think this is the closest thing we're going to see to having my GM or association mode be baked into my team. You now get to have 5 coaches on your coaching staff, which, I mean, that to me is really cool. And you can categorize them into like all these different categories. You can see here strategy, leadership, mentorship, knowledge, and team management. And then we'll have like different boosts, I'm sure, that come with all those coaches. And you can see the end goal here is you get badge training challenges, which will allow you can like develop your own skill tree. It's like very like RPG like, which is pretty cool to me. You can build out these skill trees and you can basically grind out badges, it seems like, for your players without having to buy those badges. So I mean, look, ultimately, if you have a lot of MT, which I end up having every single year, you could just go out and you can buy those badges outright. But this to me is really, really cool. Like, there's so much potential here to make, no money spent, series that much more exciting. Or you could do like a no auction house series and truly just grind out badges for your players from packs you earn from playing the game, if we are able to earn packs from playing the game, from playing game modes like Breakout, and from coach development, like being able to add badges to your players through your coach's skill tree. Like, that to me is really cool. And it's an added layer of complexity that I think is really neat. Like, it's going to make, like, okay, yes, I'm sure there are going to be plenty of people out there that spend a lot of money and they're able to afford all the highest tier coaches, which is going to give them access to all the best boosts. Sure, but I'm hoping that there's a way where if you have certain level tier coach cards, like if you have like 5 ruby or maybe like a mixture of ruby and amethyst coach cards, that you can still have a competent enough coaching staff with competent enough boosts and competent enough badge skill trees where you can make your team really good. Like, that to me is really, really neat. To me, it's a really cool concept. You can earn these coach points to where you can upgrade your coaching skill trees from rep and through season rewards. I'm just curious to see how they determine what badges are accessible from certain coaches, and I'm curious to see how the coach tiers are going to affect these badge trees. Like, what does an emerald coach miss out on that a ruby coach is able to offer you and stuff like that? I know you said that this is more so my thing than your thing, but do you have any comment on this at all, Harry?
Yeah, not really. Like I said, this isn't for me, but when I first saw this, and I was already upset about not getting what I wanted, I thought, this is cool for Jan. You didn't even have to say anything. I knew this would be for you. Like, I know you're into it. But I mean, it's interesting. I think it's like a cool addition, and it'd be awesome to see this kind of expand in the future. Like, I was kind of thinking as you're talking, like, it would be really sick if like in like future 2Ks where like, because like you look in real life where like some, a coach will say that he has to, Kevin Durant, who is known for, I guess, being more of a reserve player in real life. I've heard coaches say that you can't really yell at a Kevin Durant. You have to kind of speak to him softly, that's his listening. I don't know the right word. It's not like a love language. You know what I mean? That's how he responds better. So I think it'd be kind of awesome if years future, if they expand on this, where different players have different personalities and different coaches work better with the different personality. I just feel like they could take this into so many cool and creative directions that I hope that they expand on, because that could be really awesome.
No, absolutely. I mean, look, obviously it's my team. They're gonna probably limit how creative they can get and save that stuff for the MyTeam.
But this is a good first step.
No,
I'll give them props. This is another thing that probably you've never thought of in MyTeam.
No,
but
I never
they're adding this, and now
this.
you're kind of now we're I can't believe I never thought of this, the salary cap.
I know.
So I give props to 2K every year, as much as we like to hate on them, and I do a lot, but I find that every year they at least do one thing where you're kind of I never thought of that. So props to them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. And something else that they're bringing into the game that I did not think they were going to bring in, because I never even thought this was going to be a thing. And so this whole section is called Victory Cards and the Exchange, and I will say the exchange was one of my biggest issues in 2K25. It felt like it went from an aspect of the game that was usable in 2K24 and even more than usable in previous years to just flat out unusable. If you were someone that ripped a lot of packs and it was somewhat usable, but then if you got a bunch of duplicate cards, you found the exchange to be unusable again. So the exchange was just, I think, a very frustrating part of the MyTeam experience in NBA 2K25. It seems like they're trying to improve on it, which I am a fan of. And it starts with these victory cards. Now, I think this idea is actually hilarious. I think it's so funny that you can beat someone in an online game, and it says right here, when you win in a MyTeam competitive game mode like Showdown, Salary Cap Online, or King of the Court, you're going to earn a victory card. That victory card shows the rep gem of that player that you beat. It shows their team logo, which makes me wonder if they do allow custom logos again. Maybe this is the year that I bring back the BrothSyndi logo for my team logo.
Oh my god. Because let me tell you guys, Jan had the most beautiful, magnificent court and jerseys. And was it 2K17 or 16?
2K17.
I remember I literally made a court that looked like yours because you had such a beautiful court with the light blue. It was incredible. So I hope.
Yes. No, I mean, maybe I'll bring it back, because now if I lose, I'm kind of winning, because now I'm marketing my own brand.
This is the ultimate go play NBA Live. It's you beat someone and now you have their whatever their logo.
Yeah, I love it. See, this
I gotta be honest, you're kind of turning me on to this idea, because I didn't really care too much, but
yeah,
no, really thinking about it, this is kind of cool.
It's so cool to me because okay, just think about it. Imagine, I mean, this will never happen in a million years. You know what? We'll pick a more reasonable name, because I would never beat a Ty Debo. I would never beat a
but
Splash.
what if you did
imagine I beat
win?
One of the other bigger, imagine I beat a DDG.
Imagine you beat Carlo.
Imagine I beat Carlo, and then I have his little gecko logo on my card. I mean, I'd probably exchange that thing immediately because it's gross. But I would have it. That would be so funny to me, especially if custom logos are carryable. It's really neat. It's really
this is cool.
Really
imagine they did something even in the. Why don't they do this in the court, where now you get to have all those trophies or whatever?
Yeah.
Doing. How sick would it be if you had a whole wall of all right, here's what they should do. They have a whole wall of you're highlighting all the biggest wins, and you could pick which of your wins go on that wall. There's so many cool things that they could do.
Absolutely.
But no, this is pretty cool.
No,
I gotta give you props.
Imagine if you could showcase this in your MyTeam arena. Imagine
that's my point. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that's cool. That's really, really cool. And it even shows if you force a rage quit. Imagine if you forced.
Really, I gotta look into this. I never really cared about this.
It's really interesting. Now, to me, what's obviously much more interesting is we can exchange these in the exchange, obviously, for more rewards. And this to me is really interesting, and I think not enough people are talking about this, because if this is exchangeable for MT, if this is exchangeable for packs, if you can pick what the rewards are, we have no idea, because we have no access obviously to 2K26 MyTeam or its exchange. But if this is exchangeable for okay rewards, this is in a way the very ghetto way of circumventing or replacing getting the mini games after every single game, because now you're beating an opponent, You're getting the MT from winning that game, and now you're getting an additional reward from putting that victory
Wow,
card
yeah, this
into
could
the
be done,
exchange.
dude. Yeah, and think about honestly, like, it sounds really silly when you think about it, but like, if it was like if you win a game and you can either keep, your thing as like a token of like honor or whatever, or even if you could exchange it for like 500 MT, and that's a 500 MT you can get every win, that would be awesome.
That
I'd
would
be
be
fine.
nice. That's what I'm
Totally for
talking
that.
about.
Yeah, yeah,
See?
yeah.
I mean, to all my nerds out there, this reminds me a lot of Battle City Yu-Gi-Oh, where you would beat somebody and you would get to pick their best card from their deck. Here, I'm not able to get, Carlo or whoever I beat, Pink Diamond Victor Wembanyama card, but I can at least have a card that's proof that on that particular day I beat their ass, and I love that. That's so cool. And you know what, if I get beaten, that person has that permanent proof, especially if I have that BrothSyndi logo. Otherwise, you already know it's going to be the Knicks or the New York Liberty. That logo is going to be on that card, and maybe, I mean, I don't rage quit because I'm afraid of getting banned for 2 hours, but like, it'll definitely say that I lost, and you know what, that person earned that, and that person can get rewards.
You know what, Jen?
What's
I
up?
totally skipped over this. I think this is like I'm so for this now. I think this is awesome.
This is
And I like that
cool.
it's
It's
I like
cool.
that it's only a thing in Showdown, King of the Court, and Salary Cap Online, because I like that it's not in like a park 3-on-3 where
No,
anyone could win.
that
Like,
would
I
be
like that this is
ridiculous.
like a cool, like, you have to win in a full lineup multiplayer mode. And dude, when I like, if you're in like all right, you're gonna be excited now. I gotta be honest. When you're playing someone who's like a sweat at this game and it's a hard game and you finally win, knowing that I have this over them, oh, and you could send them a photo of this victory
Oh
card.
God,
Oh
yeah.
man, that would feel so good.
Yeah,
Wow,
imagine
this is
beating your
like this
favorite content
is like
creator and then you tag them on Twitter being like, "What's up?" And then you have that little card, your little victory card.
That's
That
what I'm
could be pretty
saying. And
cool.
this will sound silly, but I used to get such an adrenaline rush when when you could pause on your opponent back when it would let you pause for like 2 minutes. This is like even better. Now I feel like, oh, that would feel so good in like clutch game. I
Yeah.
got you. I got the victory card.
Yes. I mean, the one thing I'll say on like a much smaller scale is between the victory cards and then the ability to break a streak on Park and get rewarded for that. It really feels like 2K is acknowledging that this community is toxic as F, and they're
Yeah,
leaning
yeah,
into that. And you know what? That's fine.
yeah.
That's totally cool. Lean into that. I'm
That's a good
totally
way to
cool with
look at
that.
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, moving on from that. My team rep. I forget exactly where it was mentioned, but someone said it, I think, on Twitter, and I do think it's true. They're adding. I mean, well, they mentioned it
I
here. They're
did.
adding. Well, was it you that said the number 41? Like, there's
Yeah,
41.
42.
Yeah, 42. That's incredible. So they're expanding on
Incredible.
rep. Rep was a massive flop this year. I mean, everyone knows
Flop.
it. Whether you played the game for 2 seasons like Harry or 8+ seasons, unfortunately, like me, you knew that rep was a total disaster. Like, I ended up in diamond rep, and it felt like once you hit ruby rep, it really slowed down.
I never got out of Ruby.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And you know what? I
Yeah.
feel like everyone who played the game hit ruby, and then it was a slow grind until you hit amethyst, and then it was an
Dude,
even
I saw
slower
someone on
grind.
Twitter today say I played my team. Someone on Twitter goes, I played my team for, I forgot who said it, but he was like, I played my team for 2,100 hours and never got to Dark Matter rep. He's like, I got to lock in for next year. Like, how many
Yeah.
hours could it even take? Like, and sorry, keep going.
No,
I'll
no,
talk
no.
afterward.
That's totally fair. I think I gotta go back and look. I think I played nearly 1 full month worth of 2K. I mean, also, a lot of that's probably just me having the game on and just me not doing anything. But like, I played a good amount of that too, and I ended up with diamond rep, and I had this game on, or I was playing this game for 1 month, like, total of time. That's a lot of time. 1 month, 1/12 of a year was spent with me playing or being on NBA 2K25 my team, and I ended up in diamond rep. The fact that they're going to divide the reps now into multiple different tiers, and you get rewarded along the way in each of those little sub tiers, those little subsections, that is a W, because make
Yeah.
rep mean something. That's
No,
what I
for
like.
sure.
You're making rep mean something. You're making breakout on paper mean something. You're making beating opponents in these games and earning these victory cards. Those victory cards are making wins mean something, meaning more of a
Right.
something than they did in 2K25. Do you have any comment on rep, Harry?
Yeah, for sure. And again, I think it's funny because I knew rep was going to be such an awful thing in the first place. It's the reason we have seasons. You can't do something that's going to take you all year, and not only do that, but something that you can visibly see your slow progress after every game. It becomes the law of diminishing returns, where how many games of triple threat can I see where my thing goes up 0.01? Am I going to stop caring? And that was the whole joke of these, like, where they'd be like, play salary cap today for double, XP. It's like, so I'm going to play something now that will have an effect on me for a reward that I want to get like months from now. Like, no one can commit to that. It's like saying, like, I'm going to work out now and I'm not going to get the body I want for 3 years. It's like, you're just going to lose motivation. So I think this is a great idea. I almost think at this point, if they're going to do this, like, why do we have seasons? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, the whole point of seasons is to have the short-term goals that you can work towards. I would say just scratch the seasons because they haven't meant anything since probably the first year they did them. They've been kind of awful every year. Just throw them away and make these subsections of rep really good rewards that you can look towards. Because now, if I'm in Ruby rep and there's like the last Ruby rep is pretty good or the second last, I'm gonna care now to use that double rep token, or I'm gonna care more to play salary cap that weekend when it's double rep. So I'm totally glad they're doing this again. And it sucks because I'm a diehard Melo fan. Melo's my favorite card, but I know going into this card is impossible. I'm not gonna get him. It's just not gonna happen. I wish they kind of did something like I think the best like way to do something like this is what they did in like 2K17, where you had to do remember the weekly challenges every week.
yes, yes.
You had to do the weekly challenges, and if you did all of them, I remember in 2K18 it was a pink diamond D-Rob. I don't remember what the reward was in 2K17. I know I didn't get it, but you had to play like offline challenges every week, and if you did all of them leading up to the end of the year, you were guaranteed to get that card. I think that's how you do it. Like, yeah, it sucks if you start my team late and you miss out, but like that's what you get for starting late. I say do something like that where you're gonna get that mellow. Like if I knew from the beginning of the year, if I do this every week or whatnot, I'm gonna get that goat mellow at the end of the year, a hoodie mellow. I'd love to do that, but like knowing from the beginning that this is a card that I'm literally not gonna get no matter what, it's disheartening. Like I wish there was something they could do to make it so you're gonna get that card.
Yeah, I mean, look, we had a full year this year where we had GOAT Jason Tatum. No one got him until like, I mean, the earliest someone got him was November, and they sweated their asses off to get him. And then even then, they didn't give GOAT Jason Tatum 40 legend badges until like a few months after that. So, and even then, I never saw anyone run GOAT Jason Tatum. Like any of the Dark Matter reps who got Tatum never ever ran him, because by the time you get Tatum, like he's not really going to be that much better. Or I mean, in this case, Melo. But by the time you get Melo, he's not going to have the same like impact on your team as the other players on your team. And look, there are people that are like, oh, we're going to get hoodie Melo and he's going to wear the hoodie. Like, I don't know if he
No,
is. If he does,
that's why it's kind of dumb too.
yeah, it's okay. Like if he wears the hoodie, okay, that's
That'd be
cool.
sick.
This affects 10 people. It's just not going to affect me.
Yeah,
It's not
that's why
going to
it's
affect
just
Harry. If he
dumb.
were to get the game, I think it is dumb. Um, Showdown rewards. This is kind of like rapid fire here. They're implying that they're going to improve the rewards, which is obviously a W. What I like is that you get the rewards immediately. You don't have to wait until the end of the week to get your Showdown rewards. Like if you play on a Sunday, you don't have to wait until Friday to get your rewards, which I really like. And then they say that you can, when you get promoted to a new tier, you'll receive the rewards immediately, and then you'll be able to preview the rewards. Right here, this year you can preview the weekly rewards available in the different tiers, helping you chart your path to the increased rewards. If we're not going to know what the rewards are right now, I would love it if we're playing Showdown, I want to know what I'm grinding for. So like if it is an RNG pack, let me know that ahead of time before I start going in head first um into Showdown. I want to also lump in Domination before I throw it over to you, Harry. We know we're getting one for the NBA and then one for the WNBA, and in the latter, the WNBA one, you have to use only WNBA players for it, which is
Oh
pretty
my God, is that
interesting.
true?
Yes, that is true. They did say that, which
Jesus.
is fine. I mean, look, no one for the most part is going to probably complete that unless there is an added benefit to us having that diamond 6'4" player from the women's league. I don't know her name. I'm really sorry. I don't know the player's name. But they did mention Crest, and I want to talk about Crest really quickly before I throw it to you to talk about Showdown and Domination. The way it's going to work, historically, the Legacy Domination has included, if you pick the highest difficulty, you get 3 stars. You have 33 teams, which is 99 stars. Now there's going to be an added challenge when you pick that 3-star difficulty, where if you get whatever it is, I think it's like an additional agenda done, you'll get a crest, which means the ultimate completion for Domination now is going to be 99 stars and 33 crests. And you can see here it says you'll earn a reward worthy of its ultimate players. Again, I love this because, again, it's only a concept.
Only 2K would word something like that.
Well, yes, absolutely. And the reward's probably going to still be ass. But the reason why I liked it, again, in theory, is because they're doing something in 2K26 on paper that they failed to do in 2K25, and to their credit, they never said they were going to do this in 2K25. They made agendas and grinds for the most part pretty easy, but in return we got horrific rewards. I'm hoping that we see better rewards with, harder grinds to do. Like, I'm cool with that. If it's harder to get these 33 crests for Domination, that's fine. Early on in my teams, like in my team life cycles, I love playing Domination because I don't have the players as someone that's going to be a low money spent person more than likely in 2K26 my team. Domination early on is probably going to be my best bet to get a diamond in Pascal Siakam, because I'm probably not going to have many diamonds, when I get Siakam. So, do you have any comments on the Showdown, and Domination updates?
Yeah, this could be cool. I think this is another example like the Breakout, that they're fixing things that were in the game last year that now they're making them better. Like, in Breakout, being able to, the objectives and the difficulty, increasing rewards, like this could be a good thing. I thought if you listened to our podcast last year, I thought it was a really cool idea that the goal of Showdown, getting to that final tier, might not be for the sake of getting that final reward, but just so you get cool week rewards. Because if it's like last year where I think if you get to the final tier, you might drop down like 1 or 2 tiers, but you don't drop down all the way to the bottom in the next season. So if we're able to actually see what rewards you can look forward to getting each week, I think that could be a fun grind and entice someone to get to that final tier, because they're going to stay there a good, they'll have that good progress for the whole year where they can continue getting cool rewards. So I think that could be fun and like a cool thing to do during the week when there's no content. So I really hope, as long as the rewards are good, which is a big if, be really promising. Domination, very underwhelming. Another year of Domination rewards. I would say the only time it's worth playing Domination is in the beginning of the game when it first comes out, because that's when the MT rewards. Crazy enough, last year, or 2K25 this year, I guess technically, I made like 800K from the all-time Domination because no one was playing it, but you would get the historic jerseys from playing the games, and no one had them because hardly any people were playing all the time. So I was selling those uniforms for 5 to 10K each. It was insane, and people were buying them. So I would recommend everybody play Domination, even if the rewards were bad. After that, I probably wouldn't touch Domination when they add more, because the rewards probably won't be worth it, but like it is promising to play in the beginning. Regardless, don't even look at Pascal, don't even look at whoever that mid female is, and I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of MT from playing it. So just sell everything. Every jersey, every collectible, every badge, everything has value when the game comes out. So that's my biggest advice. Like, play it, sell everything. That should be the first thing you do every year.
Yes, no, I totally agree. I guess, moving on from that, they talk about the new player card view. I will say on stream it looked kind of interesting. I mean, I like that they're trying new ways for us to look at, like the edit player feature. I guess that's kind of cool. The favorite cards in your collection, this could be really nice, because this could be, last year we had the quality of life update where we could set our bench lineups ahead of time, and I thought that was the massive W from the Courtside report last year. This could be like a stealth, top 3 quality of life improvement that they're mentioning in the Courtside report, where you can go into your collection and you can favorite or bookmark player cards that you really like, and then you can autofill your lineup with your favorite players. So if you're someone that likes to play clutch time offline in breakout with like budget cards, which that's my thing every single year. You could just favorite the budget cards, and then if you have to, recreate that lineup, instead of you going through your collection and finding all 5 of those players, you just autofill and bam, your 5 players that you pick are there.
To me, I just like you could search for the cards now, like that they added last year.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
No, I get that. I mean,
it just makes me upset that they still haven't added. You should be able to sell multiple things at once. The fact that it's 2025 and we're still selling things one by one is absurd. So it's
I totally agree.
I just don't get the point of this, because if let's say you want Curry, all you have to do is literally you can search up in your lineup Steph Curry and get Curry.
I agree.
So,
final thing here, Harry. The walkouts. We're actually getting a proper walkout back in MyTeam after having what felt like a PowerPoint presentation whenever you were opening up packs and getting a shake, which is really, really frustrating. It seems cool, and they mentioned that we may be getting walkout animations with multiple players in them. Like if you get two shakes, you'll get both players in the same walkout animation. I mean, I know you don't really rip packs. I don't really rip packs ever, but I mean, I feel like this is overall a W in terms of improving what we had last year, right?
I agree, and I found it so funny. It's like I said this to Jan so many times. I was like, if 2K is gonna put in a lack of effort, at least put effort into like where you make your money, the packs, because like there were times where I had so much MT and I wanted to open. And listen, packs are fun to open with your MT every now and then. I don't like to do it a lot. Jan and I are both very frugal with their MT, but 2K literally made it to where like it is the most 2K25 opening packs is like literally the least amount of fun. Like if you're a degenerate on this game and you're addicted to opening packs every week, like there is something mentally unstable, because it's not even fun. It's not fun. It's boring. It's oftentimes dreadful because it takes so long. So I'm glad that they finally did something to make it more exciting. I just want it to be quicker, or not even quicker. Like we should not be having to see shakes, or long drawn out animations for like amethysts and diamonds when like goat cards are in the game. I really hope that's something they work on this year. Is like I feel like once a new tier comes out, it should just be quickly open the pack for like the tiers before that. But yeah, no, I'm glad they finally are doing an improvement, because the last couple of years especially, it's been like I've had no interest in opening packs. It looked very visually disgusting,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, especially this year. This year was absolutely atrocious. I'm very curious to see what the walkouts are going to look like. They show here there's a walkout with a WNBA player and a regular NBA player.
With the WNBA player, of course. No.
Okay, well, look, Harry, we are officially at the end. We hit 2 hours. I think this is our longest podcast ever, which is a really big deal, because look, this could be the final time that we ever do a podcast. I feel like as the pod progressed, you became a little more positive towards the game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you right now to make your final decision as to whether or not you're going to buy the game, because I know you started off the podcast very hot, saying that you're not going to buy the game. I totally hear you, and you can still choose.
Session. I became calmer as we progressed.
I think you became calmer, right? Like you said, you were calm.
I do think, ironically, it's like the blog began with their biggest points, and I had like my biggest gripes with their biggest points. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And I think, look, ultimately, I think when it comes to MyTeam, what I liked is with this Courtside report, as it kind of went on, I feel like they started with the more polarizing things, right? Like. We have the WNBA players coming into the game. We don't have Clutch Time Online coming back. We don't have instant matchmaking in Triple Threat Online coming back. But then there were other updates that did seem positive, in my opinion. Again, I think the general sentiment after this morning, or for us it was this morning, for you guys it was yesterday morning's Twitch stream, Harry felt frustrated, and I don't even want to say angry. He was just really disappointed and, like he said, hopeless. That was his word 2 hours ago that he used. And me, I felt intrigued. I was interested in a lot of what they mentioned. And I do think, Harry, my one final question for you. I'm not going to ask you to make a decision, like I said, on whether or not you're going to buy the game. But do you feel like, as we kind of talked through your emotions and talked through the finer points of this Courtside report, do you feel maybe a little more optimistic or less pessimistic about 2K26?
I think the second one was better. I don't want to say more optimistic. I want to
Less
say less
pessimistic?
pessimistic. Yeah, I think this was good in a way. Like I still stand by a lot of the negative things I said in the beginning with the WNBA in the park and everything. But I think, the more I kind of look through the blog and we kind of hit more positive notes, I'm realizing that, there are some good things that they brought in the game that maybe were hidden at first because I was so fixated, as humans do,
Yeah,
on
of
the
course.
negatives. Like I think the salary cap offline, I think will be a great addition, and the victory card thing, which I didn't even really look at first. I think it's honestly kind of what I'm excited most about because I think that's really cool, as small and stupid as it may sound. So yeah, I don't know. The show, I think it's really about execution because like they were very, again, this is another year where they're kind of very vague. We still don't know. We know the showdown, we can preview the rewards, but if the rewards aren't good, it's not really worth it. Or we know that we're getting more rewards from Breakout, but if these rewards aren't good, it's not going to be worth it. So again, I feel like here's how I'll end it, and then I think this is a good way to go. If there was like a bar, like a bar diagram, and like the all the way on the left is hopeless and all the way on the right is intrigued, like you said, not optimistic but intrigued, I would say the bar is a lot more. I don't want to say a lot. It went a decent way from optimistic leaning. You know, it's still probably on the hopeless side, but I can see a tiny light in the tunnel that I did not see before, leaning towards intrigue. There are a lot of things I'm intrigued. I don't know if I'm getting 2K. I really don't. I'm just gonna kind of see how these couple weeks go. Maybe we'll hear more. Maybe I'll see more about the gameplay that looks promising. But
Sure.
I am a little bit more intrigued of these things that I were going into it. So I feel like maybe this was for the best, and we'll see. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe this won't be the pod, who knows? But I think it's fair to say that this is like the least amped I've ever been with 2 weeks left leading up to a new 2K, which is
Sure.
really, it's sad because I'm someone that this is like the most exciting time. So, but yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think this was kind of like a therapy session for me in a way.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
yeah,
think it's kind of like a therapy session for a lot of people, right? Because I think what we've now seen, this is the third year, like I told you, Harry, in my opinion, this is the third year of this new era of MyTeam since NBA 2K 22-23, where we're really going into this different version of MyTeam where it feels like it's less catered towards the casual player and it's more so catered towards the grinder or the person that spends a lot of money. And honestly, I feel like 2K25 was the first 2K that was really catered towards the money spender,
yeah,
dramatically more so than any other segment of the community, in my opinion. I'm hoping that we see a little more balance, even if I think, look, 2K, as I showed in that graphic an hour ago or so, 2K is not hiding their love of super packs. They're probably going to bring super packs into MyTeam sooner than they ever have before, and that's
right.
fine. I think for me, I use this analogy with Harry. This will be the last thing I say. Over the last couple of years, I've really treated MyTeam like a sandbox. Really, I've treated MyTeam like a sandbox since its initial iteration, since it was birthed in 2K13, where I go into that sandbox and I have toys in that sandbox and I enjoy playing with some of those toys. And over the years, 2K has taken a lot of my toys out of that sandbox and they've brought back some of the toys, but the toys look a little different. They've brought in new toys that I kind of get bored with right away. But more often than not, because I generally enjoy being in the sandbox and my imagination is still pretty sharp even at my very old age of 86 years, I can still find a way to enjoy my time in the sandbox. And that is still where I stand with MyTeam. And it's gotten to the point where my standards are so low with MyTeam because it doesn't take much for me to enjoy playing the game, because if I'm not enjoying the game, I can just take a break. Like for me, okay, this is not me flexing in any way. I am grateful to be in a position where I can spend $150 and not stress over it. If I spend that money, which I already did, and I get the game, which I'm going to get in 2 weeks, and I don't enjoy the game for whatever reason after like a week, 2 weeks, a month, I have no issue walking away from it.
Yeah, that's what I did this year for the
Right?
first time. I was able to walk away from a
Yes.
game.
And I think that's powerful as a consumer, to not feel like you are connected to 2K, that 2K is life. Like that's not true for a lot of people. And for me, 2K is a hobby, and a big reason why I play 2K is because I make content for you guys, and I enjoy collaborating with people that I know are passionate about this game, like Harry, who was my Twitch mod over 10 years ago. Like, and we're still making content over
It's
10
crazy.
years. It's insane. But I
Yeah.
enjoy doing that kind of stuff. And so for me, once this game becomes unenjoyable, or it becomes something that I don't think I can dedicate time towards because of probably personal reasons, right? For whatever reason, then I won't play the game anymore. But as long as I'm still enjoying the game and I can use this game as a way for me to decompress from the different stresses of life, and I can, be creative and make content for you guys that'll hopefully either, help you guys or maybe even help myself. Like when I'm making these salary cap, these SC report episodes, it helps me oftentimes more than it helps you guys because I can talk through my thoughts on building lineups. Once all of that as a package becomes boring to me, then I'm going to walk away. But until then, I feel fine. Do you have any closing remarks, Harry, before we get on out of here?
Yeah, I'll also kind of reflect on myself to close it. And I think my thing is, and again, like I don't want everyone to think that I'm such an angry person and I come on and I rant because, Jan and I will probably end this and we'll laugh about something.
Sure.
Just,
as we always
I think
do.
Yeah, exactly. I think my thing is like and I know myself. I'm a very like all or nothing person, and I'm just like that with everything in life, for better or for worse. And it's helped me in a lot of ways. Maybe some ways it's limited me, but like so when it comes to things like I think Jen, like you've become so good at like you can play 2K on a Monday and then work all week and have a busy week and then play the next week, and that's fine, and that's easy for you to like. I don't know. For me, I like that's something I struggle with. So I think for me, it's easier to where like I'm either gonna play like 2K will be like something I put a lot into, or I just don't put anything at all. And that's something I did this year. I just wasn't feeling it, so I just didn't really put anything at all. So I think that's why I don't want to say I take it so seriously. I don't, but it's like I feel in a way that like if they're not fulfilling that for me, like I'm just not gonna play it. Like it's hard for me to find that in the middle where like maybe I'll play it some weeks because I think especially with my team, it's kind of like I don't want to say it's stressful, but like it's such a thing where like especially this like last year where it felt like if you don't have the best of the best team, it becomes really hard to have fun because they've made it so triple threat and salary cap and all these modes become dominated by the whales and all that sort of thing. So this is like a hard game to kind of like play on and off, I find. So I think that's why I'm more frustrated because like I know this is like it's something I care about. Like if 2K is fun, like I'm really gonna want to play it all year. So it's kind of like I know that those are like my options. Like I'm either gonna play it and put time into it, or I'm not gonna play it all, sort of thing. So I think like that's why I care because I want it to be something that I play. And I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't
No,
know
it
if I'm
does.
wording.
It does make
Yeah.
sense. I mean, look, again, it just comes down to that very simple point for me. If you enjoy playing this game in the state that it's in, knowing that the rewards are probably not going to be where you want them to be, you're going to still have a decent time playing this game. But if you don't, it's going to be really hard to play this game. Like if you're someone that's reward centric, you're probably
Or
better off
gameplay
playing
centric,
Madden.
and you don't like the gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of people are in that same boat that Harry's in, where he doesn't enjoy the gameplay. And if you don't enjoy the gameplay, it's really tough to enjoy the game.
Yeah, and that's what I would say to everybody as a closing remark. Like, I went years of my life playing 2K, not knowing why I didn't really like the game. And it sounds
Yes.
stupid. Like, I would
Yes.
just figure out why you don't like it. But I think sometimes, I don't know, it's just hard to kind of pick apart. Like, I knew there was something that wasn't clicking, but I could never figure it out. Like, I would always go back to playing old 2Ks like 17, 16, the old My Careers. I just, I never really thought, why am I doing this? And I realized I just really have been dissatisfied with the gameplay. So maybe that could resonate with someone who hasn't been enjoying 2K in a while. Maybe it's the content, maybe it's the gameplay. But think, like, what could 2K be doing? What could 2K be doing better to fulfill? And maybe it's impossible. Like, maybe 2K won't ever go back to the gameplay that I love. So maybe, it'll be hard for me to find that passion for 2K. But I also think on the other side of things, like you said earlier, don't not play 2K because you think that you not playing the game is really gonna make a difference. Because unfortunately, it won't. It's one person. so many others that are spending money every promo. Those are the people that matter to 2K. So like, don't feel like you have to not play the game because you're taking a stand. Like Jan said, if you like it, if you think that you can make the most of 2K and play it and enjoy it without complaining every time you get on, then go for it, because it's a video game. This should not be something that like ruins your mood or something that you get on every day and you get upset about. This should be a relief, like Jan said, whether you're working or you're in school or whatnot. It should be something you look forward to playing, like a release. So if you're not getting that from 2K, just don't play it. It's not worth it. It's just not. So
Yeah.
yes, we'll end it here. It'll be interesting to see where I go. I want to do some more thinking. I want to hear some more news, and I guess I'm definitely a tiny bit more intrigued than I was going into it.
Definitely. I mean, again, like I said, my final remarks are going to be that I pre-ordered the game today. There was never going to be any doubt I was going to pre-order it.
Right.
I'm excited to bring you guys content. I mentioned this before, just like as some general housekeeping here. I'm not going to be home in state on launch day on August 29th, but I will be landing back, in my home state on Saturday morning, the August 30th. So I will hopefully be able to bring you guys content that day. I'm really excited to be able to stream and make videos for you guys. That's the whole reason I got this new laptop, is for streaming and for content creation in general. I'm really excited because of that reason alone. And again, I'm intrigued. We're gonna have Breakout 101 probably coming back. That was, I think, my most viewed video. I think I had like 12,000 views on that video that I dropped, going over all the rules for Breakout. And that's going to be the big thing, right? I think early on, it's the mystery, the intrigue.
Yeah, like who knows? Maybe it's worth it to get those 3 wins or 9 wins over the reward instead of beating a whole board. So I think there's a lot of still, but I think now that there's more for experience. I think now it comes down to like, there's a choice of what is the best route instead of having to figure out like what even is the point of break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting.
Definitely. Harry, thank you first of all, and thank all of you guys. Like, if you guys watched it, Harry, in the last video, in the last BrothSyndi MyTeam show that I recorded and uploaded, I asked the viewers at the end of the video to leave a comment of CTO for Clutch Time Online if they made it to the end. And shockingly, I had like 5 comments of people, 5 different people said CTO in the comments. I want you to pick the word or the acronym. Give us a word. If you made it to this point in the video, I want you to comment what, Harry? What should they comment?
You know what? We'll go first full circle from how we started to where we end. Are you leaning more towards intrigued, or are you leaning more towards hopeless for 2K26? One word, hopeless or intrigued.
Yeah, I like that. Hopeless or intrigued, and then you can give us a whole reasoning behind it. Give us your whole rationale. The whole point
Even
of this.
Are you 50%? Are you 25%? I'd love to hear what percentage you are.
Let us know. And also, seriously, let us know down below in the comments. Again, I know I ask it in every single one of these episodes. Do you enjoy this? Because I'll tell you, like, if Harry's here, obviously it'll make it much more palatable for me. And I think if Harry's not here, I will not be recording podcasts that are 2 hours and 16 minutes long. But I think I do want to bring long form content to you guys. There's a reason why I rebranded this podcast as the BrothSyndi MyTeam show, because I want to bring this as a podcast form to you guys. I think there is a space for podcast content creation on here. We have people like Gaming Dad who are making great podcasts. We have All That Jazz, who he's not going to be making podcasts until April or May, but he's obviously like one of the OGs, and he's tremendous at everything he does. I really respect him as a person, even though I've never talked to him. His values line up a lot of my values on a personal level, so I really, really respect that guy. And I feel like I would like to throw my hat in the ring, and if Harry's in here, we'll throw his hat into the ring too, and we'll be able to hopefully bring you guys a high quality podcast where we don't have all the theatrics, we don't have the best editing, and we may have the longest podcast in the history of mankind when it comes to MyTeam. But it's because we're passionate about this game, and we want to see it be great, and we're trying to hopefully make it palatable for all of you guys watching. Yeah. So any closing remarks, Harry? Otherwise, we're going to get on out of here.
No, yeah, like I said, this was a lot of fun. Or I even think I don't know if I'm getting 2K26, but maybe I'd be curious if you guys would even prefer because I know both Jan and I obviously we have busy schedules, but even slightly more often podcasts, but we do a lot shorter. Like maybe it's like a 10-minute thing on a
Yeah,
specific
great.
weekly thing that's coming out. You know what I mean? As opposed to like we wait
Yeah.
like every quarter of the year we do like one long podcast or whatever. So it'd be interesting to see like what you guys would prefer.
Yeah, we'll talk about all that once we figure out if you're getting the game or not, and then we'll
I'm
see
getting
what
the
the
game or
game
not.
looks like. Yeah, it's all gonna start from there. It's, baby steps. We're still 2 weeks or so away from the game coming out, but I'm really glad that we could do this. If this is the last podcast that we ever do
It
talking
could be.
about NBA 2K, obviously it was a great run. I have a lot of faith that we will be doing at least another podcast together at some point about something, whether it's because you have my team or you don't have my team and you want to talk about my team, or you want to maybe we'll get on a podcast if you get Madden and you want to share your perspective on what
That could be
Madden is
fun.
like.
Yeah.
Like we have so many possibilities. I would like to be creative. You know how it is with me on this channel. I don't like to close any doors. I like to leave the doors, even if it's a crack open. I like to leave it open, and we can try to find a way to make it work, because I think the BrothSyndi My Team show is a better product with you involved, and so we'll try to find a way to keep you involved with it going forward if you're up for that. So yeah, with that being said, guys, we really appreciate you guys rocking with us for what's going to be the longest, I think, My Team content, the longest My Team video.
Like we say that every time.
I know,
Breaking a record.
I know. We keep breaking that glass ceiling, but I think we put a massive hole in that glass ceiling today. 2 hours and almost 19 minutes, probably closer to 2 hours and 20 minutes now, of My Team podcast talk. I mean, where else are you gonna get content like this that is this long? You could, if you're commuting from work and you're stuck in traffic, I mean, my God, if you're still listening to us and you're stuck in traffic,
Oh God.
you got to change your commute, man. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, we really appreciate you guys. As always, thank you for rocking with us. Stay tuned for more BrothSyndi My Team content coming to you sooner than you know it. We are 2 weeks away from NBA 2K26 My Team being a reality and not just a figment of our imaginations. We appreciate all of you guys. Again, Harry, obviously, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. We will see you guys very, very soon. Once again, this is the BrothSyndi My Team show. I am Jan Moses, and I'm signing out. Peace.